Yes, guys, hello. Welcome to Transfer Deadline Day, Spurs related stream. Hope you're all doing well and keeping busy and safe. We're here again with Andre. How you doing? That's one for you, mate.
Oh, I'm doing well. It's been busy. Been a busy day.
Yeah, definitely. I think Spurs related have posted about 10, 15 times today. It's been absolutely ridiculous. But
Yeah.
no, yeah, it's been a busy one. We'll cover it all through the night, and we're here till the end. So keep your comments coming in, guys, and the recent support's been great. Kane's in here as always. Big up the guys. Here's hoping we have one more twist tonight. Exactly, that's what we're hoping for. Hence the title. I'm just hoping for one more. But we can't hold our breath too much. Leo's in here, says what a day. Exactly that, mate. Absolutely crazy stuff. 4 outgoings, 2 incomings, and potentially a twist in the tail, like Kane said earlier. Alessio, do you want to give us the sort of the hook, line, and sinkers in terms of the main stories today, the main bullet points?
You mean me, Andre?
What did I say?
You said Alessio.
That's because Alessio's been on the text all day trying to sort out Spurs related posts. So yeah, clearly I'm not quite with it at the moment.
Oh, we've all been busy. I've been busy too. It's been a crazy day. Let's see what do we got so far. Bentancur, Kulusevski, they're in officially.
Great.
The Kulusevski one looks like it's a 35 million buy option, but it could be a mandatory depending on how many games he plays and if we make top 4. And of course, I don't know how Levy's done it, but we can pay it in 5 installments. So Levy will get to keep some of his money as we go along. So even if he doesn't perform very well and we make top 4 and we have to start buying him, we can do it in pieces at least. So James, tell me, what do you think? Think he's gonna do well? He's officially here. So
in terms of both obviously, I'll start with Bentancur. Bentancur, for me, he was a star at Juventus 1 or 2 seasons ago. He's been part of the Serie A winning team. He's obviously 25 years of age, but he's got decent experience in that league. Plays for Uruguay. Solid centre mid, gives us another option. I'm happy with that one. And Kulusevski, for me, he's got potential. He's 21 years of age. He's played with Ronaldo. Ronaldo's rated him highly. Conte obviously sees something in him. So I see them as both great signings. It just depends if they adapt to the Premier League very quickly or not. Let's just see. Couple more comments coming in here, guys. Nicolas in here, 500 subscriber. See, I don't forget things. He said we need to get Iheanacho. Exactly. Leicester don't really play him every game, and they've got like 4 or 5 options up front. You're right. Emil's in here. Big up yourself. Emil, he says Conte was able to bring out the best in Lukaku at Inter Milan. Do you reckon he would have got the best out of Traore if he chose Spurs? It's one we'll probably come to later on, but I do. Just to answer your question quickly, for me, I think Traore would have come in as a right wing back. He would have had to play a new position. It would have been a massive risk, a roll of the dice. Do I think it would have worked? Conte brings the best out of players. He got the best out of Ashley Young. He got the best out of Victor Moses, made them great wing backs in a title-winning team. So, yes, I think Traore could have worked. And also he brings that versatility, can play right wing as well, obviously, where he plays at Wolves. So, for me, I wouldn't be surprised if he goes on to do good things at Barca, but obviously it's a different story at Spurs. He would have played right wing back more than likely. So, yeah, for me, I would have taken him and taken that risk. But Kulusevski, the argument could be he's a natural right winger and can play striker as well. So there's versatility there. Andre, what did you think on that?
I agree. I think that Traore, that was one where I was a little hesitant, but when I really thought about it, if Conte wanted him, he knew what he could get out of him, right? And I thought exactly what you said. He got the best out of Ashley Young, Victor Moses. He turned Lukaku, who honestly was a big flop at Man United, to be honest, and then went to Inter Milan and made him a player that was transferred by over 100 million. That is how big he made him. Yeah. So honestly, yeah, I think he could have gotten the best out of Traore. He saw his best, sort of like the best things he had, and thought, you know what, that could work for me, because he wouldn't have had to do that much shooting, and that's probably the biggest sort of thing that's in him that he just constantly gets criticized for. So, but we missed out on that. But it's fine. We brought in two other players. Who knows? Maybe the money that was going to go towards Traore went towards these guys. So
Yeah, very good points. Very, very good points. Kane's in there again. He says, Agnelli says, Spurs working on Duvan Zapata, playing it close to the chest because they don't want another hijacking. We could see another signing. Honestly, I think I shaved my hair on stream if that happens, to be honest, mate. But I hope Zapata start for Atalanta. They've already sold Robin Goosens this this window. I don't see another outgoing at Atalanta, but breaking news: Fabrizio Romano 2 minutes ago with the Dele Alli. Here we go. He is officially going to be announced as an Everton player in the coming hours. Official statements soon. Everton are closing on contract signing and paperwork. No other clubs jumping into the deal. So Dele Alli is officially an Everton player, guys. There you go. Obviously, a bit of nostalgia playing a part. I'm a little bit sad to see him go, but it's the right moment. It's the right time. He doesn't want to be playing for us. He's got a problem with his attitude, and he's more focused on things off the pitch. For me, he has to go. But let's not forget what a great player Dele Alli was for us between, say, 2015 and 2018. Top player. I just think it's a couple of seasons too many he's been here, and I wish him all the best at Everton. I really do hope Frank Lampard can bring the best out of him again.
Yeah, it is definitely something that it's bittersweet. In a way, so a lot of people will think, oh yeah, it's a lot of wages coming off. A lot of people have been asking for it, but also a lot of people have been hoping that he doesn't go. But we only paid what, 5 million for him, right? So the fact that he's going on a free, but with different conditions, he will be receiving money in the future, right? I think there's 12 million as soon as he plays 20 games. And then there's other performances and team performance conditions that'll be brought in that will make us some money. But
yeah, but I don't think it. I think it's worth mentioning those £40 million targets are probably not going to be hit unless he reaches the heights he did before. And in that case, we get the 40 million. I think it's euros or maybe even pounds for him. But either way, like for me, we're going to get 10 million out of him at the most, like you said, or 12 million. It's a massive shame. Dele Alli at one point was valued nearly £100 million player, and now he's 12 million. It's a sad story, but at the end of the day, we've got to move forward and be excited about these new signings. Matt's in here makes a very good point. He says there is absolutely no chance we'll be signing anybody else. We've ended the window weaker as a squad than we were before. And Ndombele, Hill, Lo Celso, and Ali gone from the bench. Who is our bench now? Another poor show from Spurs, and it's something we want to come on to, Matt. Actually, welcome on in, by the way, because I went on the Irish Hotspur before this, and I argued that actually this window isn't as good as it should have been because we got rid of 4 players and we got 2 in. And for me, even though these 2 players might be players that want to play for the club, it's still 2 less players we have on the bench. It's a very good point. Lila Mill, really sorry if I said that wrong, mate, but big up yourself. He says, I would really like Dembele at the club because then you could play Kulusevski at right wing back and maybe a Dembele at right wing. Potentially. It looks like Dembele's staying at Barcelona now. That's the talks unless stuff changes. Obviously, we'll be keeping you guys right up to date with as many transfers that are linked to Spurs as possible. Leo says, I don't agree with Dele going permanently. It brings me back to when Mickey was on saying Dele can turn it around. I think a season loan would have been better suited. Very well remembered on the Mickey Hazard interview. He was a big fan of Dele Alli, and Mickey Hazard swore by wanting Dele Alli back to his prime. We all saw what kind of player he could be, but at the same time, you're right. There is a player in Dele Alli. He's still 25 years of age, still got half his career left. So yeah, I mean, he could go on. Watching go and be unbelievable for Everton. I'm calling it now. Frankie Bond's in here. Big up yourself. He says, happy to see him go. I'd rather see him play well elsewhere. And this is what I'm seeing. Yeah. And then struggle here. You're very right, mate. You're very right. Absolutely. And I wish him all the best. Like, there's no sour taste for me. If anything, I'm actually a bit. It sounds silly. I'm a bit emotional about it. Dele Alli was one of my favourites. He was, a fan favourite between 2015 for good 3-4 years. He's gave me some great memories, and I do wish him all the best. There's some fans out there that will be saying, yeah, good riddance and all this, and I'm in the middle, really. Like, I think it's the right time, but also it's that sentimental factor. But we have to move on. We have to move on. What are your thoughts on Dele Alli? I've nearly done it again, haven't I? What are your
Yeah.
thoughts on Dele Alli, Andre? What do you think it was the right time to go? Do you think there's still a player in him?
Out of all the players that left, I honestly think that having him go might have been the right decision, because the longer he stays here, the less he's worth, to be honest. You know,
Mm,
I think he should have been possibly loaned out at least a season ago when you know, a couple of managers had come in and still couldn't get anything really out of him, just a
mm,
small burst, and then he'd go back to the same, to see if he could find some for him. But here we are now at a point where 12 million, that is something we're guaranteed once he plays 20. 12 million, that's it,
mm.
right? We don't even know if he'll have the performances, if he'll gain it back enough to us even sort of trigger the clauses that gives us more money. So I think it was time.
Yeah, spot on. Basically, how a lot of people are feeling, really. Time to go, but yeah, thanks for the memories, Deli. Always been a fan favorite. Um, Ryan is in here.
Yeah.
See, great memory there. My memory is so bad I can't remember who I'm talking to, but also I remember our guest. So Ryan is in here. He says, "I don't think this window has been that bad. I get we've had 4 players leave, but now go to the under-23s, the youngsters, and give them that boost and give them some minutes." It's a very good point. The only thing I'd say about that is I'm still very disappointed about the Dylan Markanday deal. I mean, for me, why get rid of a player that's thriving in the under 23s, 2 Premier League 2 player of the months in a row, and sold him to Blackburn in the Championship? I mean, that would make sense if it was a loan, but I just don't get it. He was the under 23's best player. He's probably our best thing coming through, other than maybe Dane Scarlett, and we've offloaded him. For me, that's really what's the word? It's really under talked about. Like it's not being talked about enough. Like we're talking about Dele Alli getting rid of him, and Dombele, Lo Celso, and Brian Hill's obviously a controversial one. But Dylan Markanday, for me, he was a player that is going to be knocking on that first team door sooner, especially on the bench.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right. You're right. Speaking actually of younger players, at the moment, as far as I've heard, there's still a race to see who gets Harvey White on loan. So we'll see if anything
Mm,
materializes there as well.
yeah, I'm sure that will come in the
What do you
next
think
couple
of
of
him?
hours.
Yeah, what do you think of him, James?
For me, Harvey White, he's a decent player. Obviously, we saw more of him in the cup games under Mourinho. Good little player. Had a loan spell at Portsmouth last year. Did okay. Is he quite ready for the first team? Probably not. So I think he needs to move out on loan again. I mean, I hope it's not a permanent deal because again, he's one of the youngsters coming through. Because if we start selling all these youngsters, even more of them, then what's the point of having an academy? To be honest with you, but yeah, I think he could be a good player in the future.
Yeah. Also, I think that hopefully he signs for a championship team rather than just go back to Portsmouth. Because although Portsmouth might bring back familiarity, he might fit into the team. They might know exactly how to use him. You want a bigger challenge, right? Look what happened with Skip, right? He
Mm.
went to Norwich, came back ready to go.
Yeah, yeah, and he bulked up as well. And this brings me on to my next point perfectly. Lila Mills in here again says, I honestly think the loan deal for Brian Hill to Valencia is good. I think he can improve in Spain and get back with a bit more on him. See, for me, Brian Hill to Valencia is an interesting one because we signed the player from Levante in the Spanish league, right? We signed him. He comes through. He's quite a skinny player. He's not quite ready for the Premier League physically, and we're loaning him back to Spain, where we got him from. For me, I would have put him on loan to another English team, whether that was in the Championship top half. The
Yeah,
reason being, he'd have got more game time. He also, I don't think he's going to start for Valencia. And the other thing is, if he's at a Championship team, he could really be almost like an Ollie Skip in terms of he changed Norwich's season and put them into promotion.
yeah,
Brian Hill could light up that Championship, and he'd gain that physicality, right? with the English league. English leagues are completely different to the other leagues in terms of physicality. The only ones that probably match it are like the Serie A and maybe even the Bundesliga, but definitely the Serie A. La Liga is a much less physical league. Players go down easier, and it's just different. You're not going to bulk up in the Spanish league. So for me, I think it's great he's gone on loan, but I also think that's the most controversial one, other than Dylan Markanday, because actually Brian Hill has been our best option off the bench at times,
Yeah.
and the fact we're losing him and sending him to Valencia, it's not really. It's ticking the box, maybe more game time, but all the other boxes for me aren't ticked. He's not going to bulk up probably unless he hits the gym every day. He's not going to gain Premier League or English League experience. And he's probably not going to change that Valencia team massively. I mean, I hope he does. But I just don't see him being a starter there every game. I know that Valencia have got some decent wingers, but I just don't think he's going to be a starter. What do you think?
No, you're right. I was a little surprised too. I'm like, why would you, if he's not ready, right? If he was playing in La Liga and he's not ready for the Premier League, why would you just send him back? Put him somewhere where he's challenged differently. That sort of prepares him for the Premier League. Championship would have been great. He would have been a starter for sure, and he could have really, put the challenges there and the goals he could make for himself or something that gets him ready for the Premier League, just like Skip, right? He went in there going like, okay, if I'm going to be one of the first team players for Tottenham, then I need to come into this team and show Tottenham that I don't belong here. I belong in the Premier League because I'm too good to be in the Championship. And that's exactly what you said, right? He went in there and he changed Norwich's season, and he was a starter. Wasn't he the player of the season for them?
Yeah. What, Ollie Skip?
Yeah,
exactly. Norwich fans couldn't have talked more highly of him. Neil says, I think Conte has blocked a loan for White, I think, hasn't he? I don't know if anything is official on that. Andre, have you heard anything?
I haven't heard anything recently about it, but
Neil, you might be right.
might be.
Let's see how it pans out. Ryan's back in here. He says, just throwing it out there, at least we ain't Arsenal. 6 outgoings and no incomings. Wow, when you put it like that, it's incredible, isn't it? Sidan says, this has been a really bad transfer window for us. Need a right wing back and a centre attacking mid desperately. Yeah, I think there's a lot of fans that agree with you, to be honest, mate. I think that, we haven't addressed our defensive issues. We haven't addressed the right wing back issue. We've addressed the attacking options and the centre mid, but defensively we still leak goals, especially against those top clubs. And I think that's where we're going to come undone, and potentially it's going to fringe on top 4 or not. That's my opinion. But I'm going to give my more in-depth opinion on the window at 11 o'clock or just before, to be honest with you. Guys, as we know, we're here for a good couple more hours, so stay tuned for more. And guys, if you've got Tottenham mates, you got mates that might want to watch and come and join and ask questions, get them in here. Let us know if you get your mates in here, because we're always trying to grow as a community and get familiar faces in here. And talking of the familiar faces, A&R Army, I think that's 6 days in a row you're in here, mate. Big yourself up. Really appreciate the support. And he says, heard from some Juve fans that Kulusevski can play as a makeshift right wing back. Wow. Andre, anything on that?
Well, I don't think does Juventus have a system for right wing backs?
Maybe not at the moment, certainly. I don't think they play 5 at the back. Maybe we have more Serie A experts in it, but I don't think they play right. I don't think he's played right wing back for them. Maybe he's played right wing back for Sweden, potentially. I don't know.
Yeah, or maybe when he went on. Yeah, that could be it. Yeah, but you know what? What we just saw there in that other comment, I wouldn't even be surprised if Conte's realized, maybe he's heard the news. He's like, yeah, that's all we're going for. We're not going to get anyone else. So then, even though it was being reported that Conte had given the green light to put Harvey White on loan, maybe now he's like, well, you know what? We can't loan him out now. We got no one. We've 4 players have gone out, 2 players in. I was getting excited, and to be honest, I'm a little underwhelmed now. I personally, I don't think Hill should have left if we were only going to sign 2.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Kulusevski's obviously put pressure on the attackers for positions, and that's what you need to keep them competing and to keep the momentum going. And put pressure on like the likes of Lucas, who might get a bit comfortable that he's going to start every game. But now Hill's gone, that pressure's gone down again, and it's like I don't quite understand it. It's like, is Kulusevski better than Hill? Probably, but is he massively better? Probably not. So I don't quite get it. I don't get it. It's not like it's boosting the squad. For me, it's a weird one. Ryan's back in here. He says Kulu will play at number 10 for us, and Conte, I think, will bring the best out of him. I hope you're right, mate. I really do. I mean, if anyone's going to bring the best out of a Serie A player, it's Antonio Conte, right? It's Antonio Conte. Joe's in here, of SpursRelated, big yourself up. He says, White loan blocked. Looks like that's it at Spurs, although apparently there is still a late search for a right wing back. Just like we were saying, we didn't address the right wing back situation. Joe says, all the best. Joe, keep the updates coming in, mate. I know you're working hard at the papers. So let us know if you've got any insiders on that one. I love Ben Davies. Considering we switched to back five at the back, Tanganga isn't good enough. However, we have got a defensive option in. Yeah, it's a weird one for me again. Tanganga, I thought he would get loaned out. I mean, he's been pretty poor. For me, he's been very poor in the last 5-6 games. Had an amazing game against Man City at the start of the year under Nuno. That was when he. This is another point I made recently. For me, Tanganga plays better at right wing back, and if you remember, it was against Middlesbrough in the FA Cup under Jose Mourinho. He came in, man of the match performance, unbelievable down the right wing. Played there against Man City, man of the match against Man City, absolutely pocketed. Was it Sterling or Mahrez? Can't even remember, but he just. For me, at centre-back, he looks like a bit like a lost lamb. He doesn't understand the basics of defending, marking his man from a corner. It's quite concerning. I think it's a very good point, Ben Davies. Leo, glad to see Eriksen back in the Prem. Hope he stays healthy. Exactly that. It's great to see him back.
You think we should have maybe signed him?
See, do you know what? I was discussing this with someone earlier. And I was saying, like, for me, people wanted him back, but you've got to remember, even though after everything that's happened with him, obviously, you know, we wish him well, we wish him health, and like you said, Leo, we hope he stays healthy. You've got to remember, he left on not bad terms, but he didn't want to be there, right? He started not performing. He started to wish that he wanted to go. I remember we didn't let him go until I think it was a summer window to Inter. He wanted to go in January. It never happened. In that 6 months, his attitude wasn't good. So although Eriksen, you know, arguably up there with being a Spurs great, for me, you just don't go back with what you sold for a reason. That's got to be, you know, would you, for example, Bale's a different one, isn't it? It's a bit of a nostalgia one. But like, I don't know, would you go back for someone like, I'm trying to think, Kyle Walker-Peters? Would you go back in for him, or would you say, well, no, we've sold him for a reason?
Oh, that's true. That's true.
You know,
but I mean, it's a different caliber as well, right? So
true. The plus point in this window is we're getting rid of Deadwood that we needed to for a few seasons. Exactly, that is a massive positive. You're right, Neil. Very, very right indeed. Lila Mill, I know the transfer window hasn't been that good, but the deal for Bentancur is really good. Yeah, 19 million euros. I feel like it's a good deal. He's a creative player. That's what we need. Kulusevski, also a good one. A very good talent. Yeah, it's a mixed bunch here, isn't there? Some people are saying it's a terrible window. Some people are really excited. It's an interesting one.
Yeah, for sure. I definitely think that the Bentancur one, the fact that we got him for was 19 million plus 6 million add-ons, that surprised me. I really thought they were just lowballing it again and we were gonna miss out when I first heard that.
Yeah, spot on. Nicola, any key player that you guys would think would be a great signing for us? I'm surprised we haven't gone for, like, I don't know if they're available, but with the right bid, it's always worth knocking on the door. Someone like a De Vrij, Delight, or Delict, sorry. I think we need a centre back. That's, for me. You look at our centre backs. You've got Sanchez, mistaking him. Dyer, mistaking him. Okay, he's been better under Conte. Tanganga, not good enough. Rodon, not liked by Conte. Ben Davies, paper over the cracks, like temporary option. Romero, world class but injury prone, or potentially injury prone. We don't know yet. So I'd have got one more centre back.
Yeah, me too. But the thing is, all the good centre backs are really, really expensive. Like
Mm.
even Newcastle couldn't get Diego Carlos, even though they really wanted them.
But but don't you think that we got Delhi off the books, like 150k a week? We got Ndombele off the books 200k a week. Lo Celso off the books for a bit, 200k a week or thereabouts. That's 500k a week in wages. So I understand the transfer fee comes a part of it as well. But if we had the money to put down 40 million on Luis Diaz, why haven't we got the money to put 40 million down on a centre back?
Yeah, that's true. That's true. I guess we'll find out in the summer window. And plus, we're still not done this window. We have a few more hours.
Yeah,
Fabrizio has said that the Tottenham's market's almost done, not complete.
yeah, yeah,
It's
yeah.
almost done. So who knows?
True, true. Emil's back in here says apologies if already mentioned, but no mention of Kane going anywhere. How do you feel him knowing he wanted to move to City? Well, Kane's obviously going to be talked about again in the summer. It was never going to be mentioned again in January. It's just too big a transfer to happen in a season that pivots on players like that staying. I think we're going to hear the Man City rumours again in the summer, like from the off. Do you think he'll go, Andre?
In the summer, really
Mm.
depends how we finish this season.
Yeah, I think you're right.
I know that Conte was one of the big things he wanted Kane to be in the club if he signed
Mm.
last summer when we were talking to him. But obviously, we didn't bring in Conte until after Nuno sort of had his small stint with us. Uh, from what I've heard, at least from last month, Kane's a lot happier. But that was when we were going on like a winning streak. But Kane obviously does, when Conte comes to a club, you expect the best. I think what Kane is seeing, unfortunately, like in a bittersweet way, right, is a lot of players are leaving, right? You got Lo Celso and Ndombele and Dele Alli, who Dele Alli, he's known for a while. But we'll see. We'll see, right? Once the summer comes, where we finish, how much the Daniel Levy's hoping to back him. Sorry, Conte. Like how much he's hoping to back Conte. That'll really determine what Kane decides to do. At the moment, I think he's waiting. He's gonna see. But also, would we even be getting that much money he would be turning 29 at that point, right?
Yeah, I think his feet. I think the transfer valuation for him is gonna have synced since last summer. Just basically going off the fact that he's not scored many goals this season. He hasn't been prolific as normal. But I guess it depends. Like we said, if he starts scoring again before the end of the season, if we get top four, if he feels like the Conte project is still intact and we're going to invest in the summer. I mean, we're here again talking about who we're going to get in the summer, but it's the first proper summer window over with Conte in charge, Paratici as well. So we've got to feel optimistic about the summer, especially as we cleared some of those big wage hitters.
Yeah, yeah. Do you think of there's any summer moves that potentially could that you're already thinking about?
Well, obviously Vlahovic would have been one for a lot of people. I think we have to look at this centre back, like this world class centre back, this changing centre back. Obviously, we got Romero in. It's a loan to buy. Will we buy him? Will he stay fit? But also we need a world class player to play alongside him in the back three as well. And then we got to address his right wing back option. Obviously, Conte is not happy with Emerson. You can tell he's not 100% with him. Doherty, I mean, I'm surprised it wasn't more talked about Doherty going. The guy's putting about one or two good performances in about however many games. It's shocking. So for me, I'd look at right wing back, centre back, and it all hinges on these loan to buy players, like who stays, who goes.
Yeah, true. What are we seeing here?
Joe says, assuming you've heard about Ousmane Dembele's £16 million price tag set as Barca open to offloading. Spurs have made a late approach, but seems to be knocked back for now. Yeah, Fabrizio did tweet something about that. It looks like Ousmane Dembele. I could see him going late, but I don't think to Spurs. I know, sit tight, guys. There might be one twist in the tail, but the problem with Ousmane Dembele is A, he's injury prone, and B, his wages are ridiculous. His wages are very, very high. So, yeah, it's an interesting one.
Yeah, it'd be
Um,
like, why would you get rid of a midfielder who's being paid a lot and then bring in a winger who's going to get paid
yeah,
ridiculously as
both
well?
French, both got bad attitudes. Exactly,
Yeah.
exactly.
What do we see here? I think summer we will be defender hunting, maybe a striker. I think we done for this window. I'm happy with the two. Well,
Yeah.
if you're happy with the two, then that's great. I'm content, not super happy, just because of how many players have left. I think if it was in Ndombele, Lo Celso, and Ali that left, but Hill was still here, I'd be a little more at ease because really realistically, even before we made moves, we were even saying, right, James, that Hill's usually the go-to to sub
Mm,
in, right, besides Bergwijn and stuff.
correct.
So you've taken out a huge person, you've moved them somewhere else, but you're not going to bring anyone else in. That's, I don't know.
Yeah, no, you're spot on. Listen to this one. So I can't remember who it was that said 6 outgoings for Arsenal, 0 incomings. Fabrizio Romano has just tweeted, Aubameyang currently undergoing medical tests in Barcelona while board to work on details of the deal. Final stages of the negotiation with Arsenal have been guaranteed that the deal will be completed. So there you go, guys. Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang, Arsenal captain or was Arsenal captain to Barcelona. Wow. And that suggests that, Joe, your point's even more right. If Aubameyang is coming in on those huge wages, Dembele's probably coming out. So sit tight, guys. We might be linked again. What do you think? Typical Tottenham losing Adama and Diaz. I don't think it was a case of losing either because Adama was just a link for months. We didn't have any other links, and we were linked with this guy in December, and I just don't think he wanted to play right wing back. I don't think Conte was fully convinced he could be a right wing back, and I also think that Adama, as soon as Barcelona came in, it wasn't even an option. It was like, well, he's going to go back to his boyhood club where he came through the academy. So I'm not too disappointed about that one. I think we should have just gone in with the extra 5 mil, but it is what it is. And Diaz, as soon as Liverpool knew we were going for him and came in, he was always going there. Champions League football, better financially, more prospects for him, and I'm sure he just fits Liverpool better. I was talking to one of my mates about this, and Diaz, it does suit Liverpool more than us, but obviously disappointing we didn't go in with a bigger bid to start with, but it's just one of those, isn't it, Andre?
Yeah, I think the Diaz one, once I researched it a little more and saw how much Liverpool already had him as a target, it was kind of silly of Levy to come in and try and sort of under the table give them a bit of money when you know that Liverpool really want him. All we really did, well, we've played them twice already, right?
Mm-hmm.
We're good. We're not facing them again.
Who, Liverpool?
Yeah.
We have got them again, haven't we, at Anfield in the Premier League.
Oh well, if we do, then we shot ourselves in the foot because all we did was make Liverpool sign Diaz faster because I think that would
Yeah,
have
we
been
got
something
we
that
got him on
happened from
7th of
summer.
May. 7th of
Yeah,
May. So
yeah.
watch him
So
score against us, and yeah, that'll be rent free.
yeah, all we really did is shoot ourselves in the foot by making Liverpool speed up the process to sign him because he was a target all along, anyways. And then we tried to sort of rate it by giving them like piss poor money, and then there you go. So and then
Yeah, you're right.
Adama again. I think in hindsight, I don't think they were convinced by him because if we were willing to spend, like, look at the Kulusevski deal, 40 million for him. That is obviously you clearly feel you can do something with him if you're going to pay 40 million for him.
Yeah,
But Adama, we weren't willing to go higher than I think it was 18, and all Wolves wanted was 25. Right, and then
yeah,
Barcelona came in and paid about almost double of what we were hoping to give Wolves. So, because I think there's a loan option of 30, right?
yeah,
So
exactly
there you
that.
go. There you go. That's
Um,
the way I see it.
Frankie says still don't really understand Bentanker's role. Will he play ahead of Skip and Højbjerg or one of them? I think if we're playing a 3 in midfield, you'd obviously at the moment got Højbjerg, Skip, and Winks. I think he comes in over Winks, but if you're talking a 5-2-3, it's interesting because who comes out of Skip and Winks? Skip and Højbjerg. It's like,
Is that it? Is that all we really have? Højbjerg, Winks, Skip,
well, Ndombele's
Bentanker.
gone, Lo Celso's gone. That's it, right? I mean, this is what I mean about the thin squad. And Delhi's gone, so this is what I mean. You get rid of 3 centre mids and bring in one. It's an interesting one. But if you get him against Højbjerg and Skip, I'd say he's probably more like a Skip. So is it going to be Højbjerg and Bentancur? I don't know. What do you guys think? Let us know in the comments. Army says we might be underpaying for Bentancur and paying more for Kulusevski so that Juve have to pay less to Boca Juniors. Pay less to Boca Juniors for who's that?
Yeah, they for Bentancur.
Right.
Juventus have a some sort of clause, I think, when they got him that
Right.
they spend a certain amount of money. No, what was it? Sorry, whatever we pay Juventus, 30% goes to Boca Juniors. But I think that if it's on a different bracket, the 50%, there's a 50% that gets triggered instead of 30. So I think that's why we were able to get him for cheap.
Yeah,
so that makes sense.
Yeah,
I have a buddy who's a Boca Juniors fan, and he was telling me, saying it's like, oh no, it's 50, and then I read 30, and then we kind of figured that out as well. So makes sense. Makes sense that Levy was attracted to that. I'm sure as soon as he heard that, he was like, let's get him. We can get him for cheap.
Got you. Neil says, if we're honest, when you see how many players, how we play, you can't blame him for wanting to go. But he would be a massive loss, Kane. Yeah, exactly. And you know, again, similar like Delhi, but even more of a legendary status. You know, if he wants to go out and win that trophy, you know, he's nearly 29. So be it. You know, we can't hold these players back. At the end of the day, we've got to think about. They got to think about themselves and not just the club. And it's great that Kane stayed around for so long. Same as Lloris, like what dedication. That guy could have gone and won leagues elsewhere, but stayed loyal to Tottenham. And, you know, that's what makes you a legend at the end of the day. Hugo Lloris will go down as a Spurs legend.
Yeah, 100%. And also, just a prediction here. I think that the big race in the summer, at least for us, will be for Jonathan David. I think he is a very class striker, and I think he'd be a great addition to this team.
Yeah, good point. Kessié for me was the other one that I wanted to sign, but it looks like he'll go on a pre-contract somewhere.
Really? Well, that's unfortunate because I remember that's been a target for Tottenham since last summer.
Yeah, another one we'll talk about missing out on. Exactly that. As much as I love Kane, I don't want him to be dubbed another Matt Letizia, great striker, but nothing to show for it other than club records. Yeah, good comparison there. Very good comparison. Like you look at Alan Shearer, didn't really win anything at Newcastle, but won the league with Blackburn before that. A lot of people forget that he won the Premier League with Blackburn, and you know, fantastic achievements there, and ended up being the top scorer in the Premier League. Unbelievable things for England. So yeah, I think it's a similar story in terms of that sense. The thing that worries me about signing players now is flying them in and completing a medical in less than 3 hours. Well, I think if you get certain paperwork done before the 11, you get an extension to be able to complete it fully. I think you get 2 hours. So if there is talks coming through, it's going to be very, very imminently if anything else does come through. But like a lot of sources are saying, it doesn't look like we're going to see a lot more transfer business from Tottenham this window. JK says, Skip Bentancur, Højbjerg winks. Where is the creativity? And this is what I mean, you know, it's a concern, you know. It's spot on. Where's the playmaker? We've never ever replaced Eriksen in terms of that creative midfield role, and it's a concern. It is a concern.
Yeah, it's more like we're going to have our wingers become the creative playmakers of anything. We're going to be constantly rotating more, maybe trying Kulusevski in that sort of cam role to see who fits the best. And why are we doing that? It's like when we brought Doherty in, and I'm not trying to say that he's super good right now, but he is playing better in this right wing back role than he is when he was playing as a right back. You know, not that too many people were surprised, but for the ones who were and going like, oh, he's playing so well now. It's like, yeah, because he's playing in the position that he used to play in. Why would we buy someone who and then have him play somewhere else? So same thing here. If we bring in Kulusevski, who is a right winger, he's got a really nasty left foot, and then you try and make him a playmaker, and then it doesn't really work out. He better not be getting hate for that. I really hope he doesn't, because that's not his natural position.
Yeah, very good points. Very, very good points.
Yeah.
Um,
Actually, to add to that, actually, that'd be like when Barcelona brought in Coutinho, right? And they started trying to play him in different positions instead of just playing him in his natural position, right?
mm,
Or Griezmann, same thing. He was a number 10 guy. They brought him in to be a right wing, no, sorry, a center forward, and they just kept switching him around. It's like you got to buy players that work for your system, not buy players and hope they adapt to your system.
yeah, exactly. They have to fit. And that's probably links to the Traore thing in terms of it would have been a gamble. It might not have worked in this system at 5 at the back. And this is why I can see that we didn't end up getting Traore.
Yeah, that could be it. Maybe at the end of the day, when they really thought about who to prioritize, maybe the money was tight, right? Maybe Conte was like, you know what? If I have to choose between Adama or Bentancur, uh, I'd rather we just go and get Kulusevski and Bentancur instead of Kulusevski and Adama. You know?
Yeah, spot on.
But
This guy says, Leo says, I really think the Dominic Calvert-Lewin needs to be a summer target. Do you agree? No, for me, no. I think he had one great season. I think he is a good player, but do I want him at Tottenham? No. Reason being, I think there's better strikers out there than him. Yes, it ticks the box for the homegrown player in terms of those regulations. Because don't forget, obviously, we're losing Dele Alli in terms of one of the homegrown players for the regulations. But for me, I wouldn't want Calvert-Lewin.
yeah, you're right. He did have an amazing season. I remember had him in my fantasy Premier League, but he hasn't. Has he been doing as well this season? I don't think so. No, a couple of injuries sort of
Yeah,
messed.
he had he had an injury at the start of the season that set him
Yeah,
out for quite a while.
yeah, messed up his momentum. I guess it happens. It
Yeah.
happens, right? Look at Tanganga right now. I
Mm.
really thought that he was he was upcoming, and then I think a few podcasts ago we were talking about it with one of our guests, and as far as I'm concerned, he had some points. You know, sometimes injuries do things to you, and then they just bring out the consistency that you might have always had, and when you're not completely in form. So
Yeah, spot on. Ryan's in here again. Says I was very anti-Winks, but now under Conte, I'm starting to like him. He's making much more forward passes, and he's like a little pit bull. Well, you're right. He has changed under Conte. He seems like he runs more. He seems like he's more positive going forward. His passes are not sideways or backwards for once, which is great.
yeah.
And he's actually been man of the match a few times. So can't fault what you're saying. Will he now be out of favour over Bentancur as well? Probably. Which could be seen as a shame, but also could be seen as, well, Wink's great that he stepped up for a bit, but all of a sudden, he's not amazing. So technically, I think it makes him maybe even push on further because of the competitiveness and the fact that he will get more game time. Well,
Uh,
he'll be playing for more game time. He'll have to be more competitive on it.
well, to be fair, he's been doing that for a lot of seasons now, right? If anything, there was a few, was it last season or the past few seasons, he's sort of been wanting to possibly be loaned out just because he never gets played, right? But 100%, I think the minute Conte came in, a few games in, he gave him some chances and he stepped up to another level. Now, do I think that next level that he stepped up to is like this amazing, crazy level? No. But I do think that he has stepped up. Whenever he is on the pitch, I'm not worried that he's going to do something to mess it up. My concern is on other players. But yeah, some of those passes he's made up front. There was one I think that was disallowed with Kane. That pass was great. There was a few tackles where genuinely, if they weren't done properly, he could have been carded, and he did those very well. He runs a lot. I wouldn't even be surprised if he keeps this consistency that FIFA boosts his pace up or stamina. But yeah, we'll see. Hopefully, he takes this under the chin in a good way with Bentancur coming in.
Yeah.
And he just strives to be better rather than be upset that he got better and now he's being benched again.
Yeah, exactly. And the same goes for Skip as well. Like, don't forget, he's battled his way into the first team after being on loan at Norwich. Suddenly,
Mhm.
there's more competition for places. Potentially, Skip will get dropped for Højbjerg in some formations. So, again, Skip and Winks, are kind of our boys, if you like. They're going to have competition on their hands now, even more competition. And the same goes for Lucas, Bergwijn up front, obviously on the wings competition. Kulusevski will be raring to want to start. He wasn't starting at Juventus. He'll be wanting to start here. So it just brings competition into the squad. Although I still feel like we needed that one or two more players.
Yeah, yeah,
Um,
but I'm happy that our defensive midfield positions are better, I
mm,
would say, quality-wise, and also in terms of how they fit into Conte's system. I think if you have a rotation between Højbjerg, Skip, Winks, and Bentancur, I'm all
mhm.
for that, at least for now. I think that's much better than having an Ndombele or a Lo Celso who don't really fit that defensive midfield position properly. But the
Yeah,
thing is, in the summer, we need to get a central attacking midfielder because there is no creativity really that's going to be going on with those two, with the rotation there at the back. We're going to need someone who can really, really just do all of the creative right there in the middle, alongside with the wing backs and the two strikers.
great points. Great points. Absolutely. Um, Peter's saying, so what's the latest times getting on? I'm not sure, Peter, if you mean about what time we can get a player. It's 11 o'clock, the window ends. But if certain paperwork gets over the line before 11, there's an extension that goes on for a couple more hours. So if that's what you meant, I hope that answers your question. JK's in here says we have to get at least top four to lure big players to the club during the summer. Is a point I've said so many different times. Like, the thing for me is if we sign one or two more players, it bolsters the chances of getting top four. If we don't get top four, we're not going to get the players we want in the summer, or it's going to be a more of a struggle for sure. So this is why I would have put two more players into our squad. But sometimes you can't win with Levy and Enoch anyway. Leo says, "Do you think Lingard will be a priority in the summer?"
He could be. I know that right now he's really upset because Manchester United have 100% vetoed him going anywhere. He's
Mm.
staying. But would you want to go for a 29-year-old?
I don't think it's the problem of the age. I think West Ham fans will want him back. I think West Ham are more likely to get him than us. Um, and we've seen these obviously sparks of brilliance when he was back at West Ham. When he was at West Ham on loan last season. I mean, he did us dirty in that game. But
Yeah, I remember that.
I mean, can we do better than Lingard? Should be doing better than Lingard, really.
If we make top four, yeah, I think so.
Yeah, I don't think you see if you compare is Lingard a Champions League player? Probably not. Is Lingard a Europa League player? Probably. So that's where I'm at, to be honest with you. I think it's a good point.
Yeah, but
Um,
and I know you said age isn't really the problem. I think that if we're trying to go for the real push there, I think we should be focusing on central attacking midfielders who are in their prime or
mm,
just about to be, rather than go for a player who is trying to find his spark again at the age of 29. All respects to Lingard, obviously, because I do think he has his sparks of brilliance. But yeah, that's where I stand on Lingard, to be honest.
yeah, definitely. Marcelino's in here. Besides the two Juve players we signed, is there possibly more deals we could looking to get over the line? Not at the moment, my friend. We obviously let you know if anything happens, but it looks like it's going to be the four players going out. Dele
Yeah.
Alli permanent for Everton.
Hmm.
Brian Hill to Valencia on loan. Lo Celso on loan to Villarreal. And Ndombele to Lyon with an option to buy. And then coming in, Kulusevski from Juventus and Bentancur from Juventus. Bentancur on a permanent for Nunez and Kulusevski with a loan to buy option, dependent on various factors, including Champions League qualifications. So that does look like it's going to be that, but there is talks in the air about Ousmane Dembele being available last minute because Aubameyang is coming in on huge wages to Barcelona. So keep an eye on that one for sure.
Yeah,
This is an
just to
interesting
repeat
one. Go on.
repeat that a small part, because there was a little bit of a lag. There was a 19 million plus 6 million in add-ons for Bentancur.
Mm.
Also, was what was Aubameyang's wages, like 350K or something a week, right? Something like that.
Yeah, he's on a ridiculous 300K a week. Yeah, I think you're right.
Yeah, it was a crazy amount of money. Didn't that happen with Ozil too? They signed him. He was meant to go somewhere, and then they re-signed him to huge wages, and then after that, he was like a
Yeah, they got
completely
done
different
with
player.
him.
Yeah,
Peter saying is Morata on the cards. I don't think so. It was a name
no,
that was thrown out there, but I just can't see us getting 3 Juventus players.
yeah, no, I'm pretty sure that that's a no on that one.
Yeah.
From what I've seen, that it was on the cards, very very lightly on the cards, and then now it's been no, no.
The
Same
risk.
thing with our outgoings, the Bergwijn one. That's also been vetoed. We're not selling him. Ajax were trying to push for one more time, but Conte likes what he's seen recently, especially that Leicester game. So let's hope Bergwijn has some more similar impacts.
Yeah, spot on. Okay. What I was going to say, Fabrizio says Lille centre back Sven Botman, who has been a link to Spurs before, says he can confirm. This is what Sven Botman has said. He said, I can confirm both Newcastle and AC Milan were concrete options this winter. Both were good options for me. I assume that I will take a good step in my career next summer. So there you go, Sven Botman available next summer. That is someone that Spurs should look for. Solid centre back option. Um, you know, been doing amazingly at Lille. I know it's Jack Innerkey's a big fan of him, and a lot of other Spurs analysis. So it's definitely one to consider in the summer window. I think
Yeah,
Keepanda, welcome on in. Not seen you before, mate, but I hope you're well. Thanks for joining us. He says it goes without saying Juve won the transfer window. Got Vlahovic in for 75 mil, Zakaria for 5 mil, and a young Italian defender for 7.5 mil. Also offloaded Bentancur and Kulusevski, who at this point were burdens. Doesn't mean they're bad though. I can't really see Bentancur and Kulusevski shining for Spurs, especially Kulusevski, who has so much wasted potential that he didn't use. I hope Conte works them well. Great points, mate. A lot of information there. I think you're right. I think Juventus have done very well in this window, and I feel like we have got their fringe players. But if their fringe players work for Spurs, I'm all for it. That's how I'd summarise what you're saying there. But the fact they got Vlahovic for 75 mil, he's going to go on to be. He's going to hold his value. I cannot see him going down. Like he's up there in terms of the scoring, not quite Haaland level, but like almost the next big young prospect other than Haaland and Mbappe. Everyone wanted him, and Juventus have got their man, and great business. Jelly
yeah.
and ice cream, get in there, mate. How you doing, mate? Nice to see you again. Ousmane Dembele, no way. The man's worse than Dembele, his senior brother. Yeah, a lot of people don't like his attitude, that's for sure. A lot of people do not like that. It's an interesting one for sure. It's an interesting one.
Vlahovic was a missed opportunity though. Last summer we were really I remember I was covering that stuff and I was really excited. I'd seen the potential there, and then we didn't go for him. I think we valued him at like half of what Juventus has paid. And when he started doing so well in the Serie A, I was like, great, now are we even gonna get him? Like his value's gone up. No way Levy goes for that. And then, Juventus come in and get him, which begs the question. Maybe that was what Vlahovic wanted this whole time, because he was saying no to a lot of clubs, saying, I'll wait in the summer, I'll see what happens. And then Juventus come, and everything he said was completely just irrelevant at that point. He left halfway through the season, even though he said he wouldn't.
Yeah.
Right?
I think going back to what you said before, like Vlahovic for me, 75 million is an awful lot of money, but at the same time, do you invest and think, well, Kane's potentially going in the summer, this is the big replacement, 21 years of age, he's going to go on to be a world-class player, scoring for fun at Fiorentina, who, let's be honest, aren't the best team in Italy, so Levy's never going to reach out that money. It's just Levy cannot reach out that money, so
yeah,
it's a shame.
Another thing to add is it's not like they're signing a player who has to now come to another league and prove that he can fit that league. He's just moving to a different club in the same league, so he'll just be doing the same thing, just in a different team.
Yeah,
so
yeah, exactly.
Kind of works. It's a little different to have him come from the Serie A to the Premier League, so we'll see what happens.
Yeah, let's see. Ayanami's in here says, I still think Dembele is too much of a gamble for us if we were struggling with wage problems. I just hope we are going in for secretly for a good player. We're all hoping, mate. There's how long left? 1 hour, 33 minutes and counting, guys. Yeah, let's just hope, but not long at all. Not long at all. Right. Let's think of a comment now. Sorry, a sort of a debate now. Who is your starting 11 now that we've signed these two players? Does Kulusevski come straight into this team? Does Bentancur come straight into this team for one of the centre mids? Which formation would you play? A 5-2-3 or 3-4-3? There's so many different options we can play now, right? What positions? What formations would you play? And what players would get in, guys? Let us know in the comments what your starting 11 looks like and the formation. But Andre, putting you on the spot now, what position would you think is the most up for grabs? And do you think you could give me a starting 11?
All right, so I think the only thing that would change for me is Højbjerg would stay on, and I really do think Bentancur would be next to him. I think he slides in there really well. And then it is up for grabs at that point for the other midfielders to sort of see if they can, fit. They can sort of rotate, or it's at that point it's just all about who can perform the best. But I do think Højbjerg needs to stay on there. He's that wall at the back. Ever since he came in, Kulusevski, I think he has a shot there on that right side, with Moura preferably going up into the cam position. I think I've seen some really good performances from him when he's been there. Plus, we don't have a cam, so we kind of need him there now. We don't have an Ndombele or a Lo Celso to sort of try and adapt in there, right? Yeah, and look at that. So there's no more incomings. It really is just going to be about...
Keep the faith. It's not over yet, It's like we all thought we'd lost against Leicester, and suddenly Bergwijn scores 2 goals at the end. Paratici could be cooking one more signing, but I'm not holding my breath on that one.
Yeah, but I really do think it's just about adapting maybe 1 or 2 players into that cam position, trying them out. Especially Moura. I could see him going in there now as a cam rather than being a winger, or maybe sometimes he'll come in as a striker.
For me, some of his best performances have been from cam. Like he's been a great number 10. He can play well behind Harry Kane. He can almost switch with Kane mid-game, and sort of Kane drops back as he does, and Moura stays up front as the vocal point. So, yeah, I think you're right. I think we might see Lucas come in. It almost might be like for me, a 5-3-2, sort of maybe almost like a 5-2-1-2, actually, thinking about it. You play the 5, obviously, the recent goal, 5 at the back, left wing back, Reguilon, left centre back, Davies, centre back, Romero, right centre back, Dyer, or the other way around. Right wing back, you've got to stick with Emerson. I think you paid the money for him. He's a Barcelona player. He can come good. I think he can. He just needs to improve his final cross. 3 in midfield. You've got to put Bentancur in there with probably Højbjerg. Maybe Skip comes out, see how it works. And then the 10 might be potentially Lucas, Kane, Kulusevski up front. But then that's when Son's injured. So it's going to be difficult to fit them all in, actually, thinking about it.
Yeah. Do you know when Son comes back?
No one knows. People are saying after the international break, but who knows? Bit of breaking news there, guys, from Joe saying Dele Alli announcement vid about to be released. Get the tears going, guys. Get your tissues. He's gone. Thanks for the memories, Dele, but it's all over. It's all over. I don't know. Kulu and Bentancur both weren't needs for Spurs in terms of the positions they play, especially Kulusevski. But I think both can make it into the starting 11. Hope they fight for it, and that's it. Like, it's competition for places at the end of the day. It's competition for places, which would be an interesting one. I agree, Andre, but I think Højbjerg needs resting from time to time. We saw how worn out he can getting played every game consistently. Not playing Arsenal did. Højbjerg the World good against Leicester, and yeah, he was unbelievable against Leicester. Spot on.
Yeah, it's true, and that's why I think bringing in Bentancur is honestly, I'm 100% for that. We need another player. I think there was a comment yesterday about quality over quantity, and having 4 really good defensive midfielder. Now, I say really good with Winks in there just because he has stepped up, but we'll see. Maybe he has more room to improve. But yeah, being able to rotate them all and feel secure no matter which one is playing, that I'm good with that.
Yeah, good point. Kulusevski at 10 is obviously another option, and Kane and Son up front potentially. Very good point, Rob. Welcome on in. Always great to get new faces in here, mate. I think your profile picture is going to make me sort of get hypnotized that we're going to sign one more player there. But I really wish we could get Adama. He would have caused chaos. Wow. Yeah. This is such a divided fan base on Adama. Some people think, oh my goodness, thank goodness we didn't get him, and some people are a bit gutted. I'm sort of that middle ground. I'm thinking, well, he could have been unbelievable. May have regret not signing him, but at the same time, he's not a right wing back, so it would have been a gamble, as Picky Panda said. Talking of Picky Panda, as a Juve fan, I can say Kulu is very similar to Son. Look at this, we've got our own Juventus expert in here. Great. The downfall is if he's played in the wrong position, he's really, really bad. But if played right, he'll be absolutely lethal. Well, here's to hoping when he gets the right position under Conte, mate. I hope you're right. No tears from me. No feelings about Delhi. Wow, that's harsh. I'm certainly going to be emotional. I might go and revisit my 2015 Delhi Alley shirt tonight and maybe just say goodbye. Thanks for the memories and all that. But Leo says, sorry, I missed the comment. JK says, to be honest, Spurs should hire a coach on crossing for Emerson. Yeah, open a position, put it on the Spurs social media. Let's get him a coach for himself. Leo says about that. Shame about Delhi, but good for him. I think Everton could go down and fighting for promotion. I think he means relegation. I could be wrong.
Yeah, I think.
Kurt says, hit the like button, subscribe. Let's get these guys to 600. Guys, the support has been great recently. Absolutely unbelievable. I think we've grown 150 subs just this week. I've kind of actually lost track of how many we're on now. It's been kind of crazy. 527. So yeah, not far off 600, which is great news. And obviously the goal is 1K subscribers. That's our next goal. So let's get over the line from 600 first. Spot on. Appreciate the support. It's a shame about Delhi, but good for him. I think Everton will go down and fighting for promotion will reignite his. He keeps saying promotion. I think he means relegation. Either that, or I'm just too tired. Will reignite his spark, and he will do good things for them. I think you're right. I think we could see Dele Alli's career. It's a new challenge for him. He needed something new. Yeah. It was stale for Tottenham. It was stale for him.
Yeah, and I mean Everton also got Van de Beek, right? So that's going to be a kind of a lethal midfield there. They got So they got Van de Beek. They have Dele Alli. What other options they got? They got Doucouré. They got Allen.
Fabrizio just tweeted saying Dele Alli has just signed his contract with Everton. Time for official announcement. Real Madrid have turned down Everton approach for Luka Jovic. Wow, they went in for Jovic.
Wow. Wait, man. I mean, Lampard's got the pull, I guess. I'm sure he was promising things. Yeah, Aaron Ramsey sends for Rangers. I saw that. That's
such a weird sign. Like, that's a mad signing for them. He's still a class player, to be honest with you. And yeah, I think he'll go on to do brilliant things at Rangers. But at the end of the day, there's only an extent you can do at Rangers, which is win the Scottish Premier League and all their domestic cups. So, without being sour about it, it's probably a good move for him. I mean, he's sitting on the bench at Juventus on 400k a week, so he's probably had a nice payout on his contract. Ali McCoy has just said it's the biggest signing since Gaza. Wow. You think about it though, it's hard to disagree with that. I'm trying to think of a big player they've signed. Obviously Morelos, but he was never going to be like world class. I think Jermaine Defoe's up there. He's one of the biggest signings, to be honest with you. I'm not even joking. Jermaine Defoe, absolute legend of English football. Obviously, I'm going to say that with my favourite ever player, but obviously there's no bias that comes into this podcast ever. Sorry for the confusion. I meant if they go down fighting, be promoted back to the Prem. Got you. No, I got you. Joe's laughing at my Defoe shout. Joe, you got to think about it. Jermaine Defoe, unbelievable goal record in the English Premier League. You got to put him up there with Aaron Ramsey. I mean, what are you saying? Aaron Ramsey's more of a footballing legend than Defoe? Think you'd be kidding yourself. Screw Rangers, Celtic 2 points behind. You boys. Brilliant. Fantastic. Just a reminder, guys, that as you see on the thumbnail, we've got the Irish Hotspur joining us very soon. But before that, I believe we've got George Achillea joining us, big Spurs YouTuber, as you guys have probably seen. So it'd be great to get his thoughts on the transfer window, and we're excited to see what he has to say.
Now, one question for you is we have a couple of loans that we're going to have to make some decisions, right, at the end. One that we haven't touched on yet is Golini. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, it's a bit like a Carlos Vinicius situation in the fact that he's sort of shown signs he's decent, but not enough. Obviously, Carlos Vinicius, we didn't trigger the option to buy. He's ended up at, I think, PSV, I think. So, yeah, for me, Golini, he's not as good as we all thought. But then again, you know, we've had some interesting backup goalkeepers in the past that have shown signs of brilliance as well. You think of Paolo. You think of who else have we had recently?
We had Vorm too.
Vorm, yeah, Vorm. I was going to say Vorm. So, you know, is Golini on that level? Probably, but also his decision making is horrendous. I mean, I'm thinking back to that Chelsea game where he goes and tries to punch it out from a corner, completely fluffs his lines, and then there's a tap in. Not sure about Golini, but I guess there's going to be heavy fixture loads coming up with obviously the cancelled games. With 2 games behind a lot of clubs, maybe even 3. So I think he's going to get some more game time, especially in maybe the FA Cup. Let's hope we get through against Brighton. But yeah, I just think, I don't know. At the moment, I'm saying no, but you never know how he's going to perform in the next 6 months.
Yeah, and I remember Fabrizio really rated him. He said he was one. He was one of the incomings, a really, really good goalkeeper, and I haven't really been that excited, to be honest, about it.
Yeah, spot on. Ramsey is incredible for Rangers, want him gone, but really didn't want to see him go to Burnley like it was rumoured he would. Glad he's going to play in a strong UEFA Europa League fighting team. Yeah, it'd be great to see him back. You know, I don't have a lot of love lust for Aaron Ramsey, funnily enough, being an ex-Gooner. But at the same time, you know, good on him. You know, he's better than sitting on the bench of Juventus, right?
It's true. It's true.
I joined the stream thanks to George Achillea's promotion. Brilliant stuff. You'll see him very soon, within the next 5-10 minutes, I'm sure. Andre, have you heard of Joe Aribo, who plays for Rangers? Lad's very good. I have as well. Just put it out there. He's a decent player. He assisted Elanga for a goal, who's known there from Man United the other day. Aribo, decent player. You heard of him, Andre?
I actually haven't. I don't follow the Rangers too well. I only kept up with it slightly because of Defoe and the Scottish Premier League because of, I think, Arfield. He's Canadian.
Is he?
Arfield, yeah. He just recently retired from the Canadian national team, actually.
Do you know what? I thought Scott Arfield was Scottish, so you learn something new every day. I think that's the thing I've learned today. I don't know if Joe knew that one, but in the comments, that'll be an interesting one to discuss. I actually didn't know Scott Arfield was Canadian. What is he like mixed nationality, or is that his like chosen national team?
I'm pretty sure he's Scottish Canadian, yeah.
Okay. Well, I genuinely didn't know that. I'm quite surprised I didn't know that, but there you go.
It's very unfortunate that he was mainly playing in a time when Canada was still just starting to build up its quality. So I think a prime Scott Arfield would be such a good asset in our Canada team. But I mean, enough about Canada. But yeah.
No Canada talk for an hour and 20. But no, nothing's happened in terms of the transfers coming in, guys. Obviously, we'll keep you very up to date if anything does happen.
Knowing Levy, though, I don't know about that. I feel like
how exciting would it be if something happens? You know, this will really kick this stream on. But Joe's got a comment in here about the clauses for Dele Alli. Because of the way that Ali deal has been structured, free deal with lots of clauses, Tottenham would dodge the 20% sell-on fee to MK Dons. Master Levy at it again. Of course, he's read through all the contracts he made 7 years ago and made sure he knows exactly how much he's got to cough up to MK Dons. You know, that is Daniel Levy to a T.
That makes sense now, because I wondered the same thing. I'm like, why would he do it that way? But you know, because at the end of the day, once the 20 games are once he plays the 20 games, that's 12 million right there, right? But there you go. That's the little detail. Makes sense now.
Oh, it's just unbelievable when you think about it. And Joe's followed up with, that's why there's all these clauses of 10 million, 15 million for appearances and stuff. The initial deal is free. This guy, Daniel Levy, you know, an
Wow,
absolute,
he
he's
just
just,
screwed MK Dons.
and it's one for his profit and loss sheets. You know, we'll probably be the most balanced club in the Premier League now. You know, probably actually profited when most clubs don't profit, as it's a football club, not a business. So yeah, you know, Daniel Levy's accountancy sheets from a chartered accountant. You know, he's going to be going to bed absolutely happy with himself tonight. I'm so glad. I'm so glad for him. You know, the sell on is based on any outright fee. This is an unreal loophole. Yeah, but Joe, from like an unbelievable, you know, chartered accountant, you know, that's his trade. Are you really surprised that Daniel Levy's found a loophole to help his accounts? Because
he
I'm not.
probably he probably already had that loophole like in mind. He probably had it noted somewhere when he signed Dele Alli that if he ever had to sell him, he would use that loophole. 100%. He already had that ready. And MK Dons was like, "Oh, we're gonna cash in now. Dele Alli's out of form. We'll get some money." Nope.
It's just
Oh man.
unbelievable, isn't it? It's unbelievable. Um, Andre, I'm gonna drop you with a little question here because you know I'm just trying to think of a question that might keep you on your toes here. Let's say no more transfers happen. Let's say Dele Alli happens. You know, transfer out. We've got the 4 transfers out. We've got the 2 transfers in. Do you think this has been a successful window, and what do you give it out of 10?
Uh, I mean, based on
While
how
I
the
let you hang on, while I let you think about that, I'm going to let you think. I'm going to give you a bit more time. Breaking news from Fabrizio Romano: Ousmane Dembele stays at Barca. He's never really been close to sign with any other club this January. Man United not even interested. Chelsea never opened talks. Tottenham never even been close. No interest in an Arsenal swap. No agreement with PSG. So there you go, guys. Ousmane Dembele is staying at Barca. So that one eradicates any potential late move there. So, you know, maybe some people got their hopes up for that one. That's diminished that. That's out the window. Dembele staying at Barca, too late to leave now. 135 million signing, can leave for free in the summer, rent free. Wow, that is
wow.
incredible. They're gonna and you wonder why Barcelona are in financial difficulties. It's not exactly a surprise, is it? Right, Andre, back to your question. You've had a little bit of time to think. You brainstorm.
I would say if I had to choose between yes and no, and there's no middle ground, I would say yes because based on the state we are, we cannot just we have to take different steps, and I guess this window was a get rid of some deadwood step. You
Mm,
know, this was a window to just remove a lot of players that were honestly just living rent free here. I don't think Conte wanted to. He probably went to Levy and said, "Look, I don't want to play Dele Alli. I don't want to play in Ndombele, and I don't really plan on using Lo Celso either. So I think your best bet here is go loan them out and get them out of here. I'm not playing them. I'd
yeah.
rather you just bring me two, even if it's just 2 players and you get rid of 3. I'd rather have 2 players that I will use, that I know how to use, that will fit my system, than have 3 players who don't know, like they don't fit my system at all. So I would say yes, and I would rate this window a 7.
7.
7.
Wow.
7. Yeah.
You thought about changing it there, but we'll go with a 7. We'll go with a 7. Um, before we you know, indulge in how good our window is anymore, our first guest is with us. He's in the waiting room. Most of you would have heard of him, if not all of you. I know the guy is very busy doing his own content, really pushing the TikTok content as well as his YouTube. It's none other than George Achillea himself. George, thanks so much for joining
Hey,
us.
what's
How you doing,
happening?
mate?
I'm all good, guys. How you doing? How's everything? How's everyone been?
Yeah, we're good, mate. We're good. It's been obviously a busy day with news and all the outgoings, more outgoings than incomings. But
Hmm.
yeah, we're nearly at the end now. Apparently, no more Tottenham transfers. But you know, let's see what happens in the last hour. Um, before we talk transfers, did you win your football game?
Yeah. Just did a bit of five-a-side like I do every Monday. So casually we just won today as usual. But
Love it.
Spurs signed me up. I'm available if they get in contact in the next hour and 10 minutes.
Well, yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if they go in for you, George. To be honest with you, we were just talking about how Levy's been crafty about forming loopholes against the Dele Alli permanent transfer out to Everton.
Yeah.
He's avoided a fee for MK Dons because they get a 20% fee, sell-on fee, if we sold him on. So because he's done it with an
So that
option with those
explains.
clauses,
Yeah,
that's
okay.
why obviously we've ended up basically messing over MK Dons, and he's gone for a free. But if he meets certain terms, then we start getting more money in. But yeah, obviously you're not surprised with Daniel Levy, I'm sure.
I actually didn't realize that, so I was wondering why. Like when I saw him leaving, I was like, great, because to be honest with you, he needed to move on.
Yeah.
And I was expecting around about maybe like, I don't know, 30 mil or whatever for him. And then when I saw the report saying it was free and it could be up to 10 mil, I was baffled. I was like, I know we wanted him out, but that was like peanuts considering he's got 2.5 years left. But that's making a lot more sense now. Okay.
Do you know what, George? It wasn't just Andre will probably be able to give you the more ins and outs than me, but it's not actually just 10 million. If he scores a certain amount of goals or plays a certain amount of games, he actually goes up to 40 million pounds they have to play. So
Madness.
yeah, it's incredible. But obviously, kind of a question I've got for you is, what's your sentimental view on it? Obviously, we can have the nostalgia, the great times with Dele Alli between sort of 2015, 2018. But are you sad to see him go?
A little bit, yeah, but I think, to be honest with you, the most part for me is that I feel like he should have sort of moved on a while ago now. So it's kind of like it's been like a long time coming for me. So it's not like I'm not like as heartbroken as I probably would have been if this was like maybe a couple of years ago. Because obviously, no denying, Delhi's was an unreal player for us throughout the Poch era, but. Yeah, I don't know. Like it's a weird one. I thought when Mourinho came in initially, I thought that was going to be the resurgence of Delhi, because to me, what Delhi was like before was sort of the player that I felt like Mourinho would love. That sort of like aggressive, cheeky player, which is what he was like when he was at his peak. But for whatever reason, I don't know. It just seems like Delhi got to the point where he kind of just, in a way, gave up caring. He sort of like got very comfortable in his Spurs position, earning X amount, playing, I don't know, Champions League at the time, Europa League, whatever, and didn't really seem to put in that sort of extra effort. Don't get me wrong, I don't think the formations and the styles of like, a manager since Poch have really helped him, because I think he was at his best when he was that sort of shadow striker playing in behind Kane. I think Eriksen leaving and Eriksen falling out of form was a massive hit on Delhi, because
good point.
If you look back at all the old clips, I think almost everything that Delhi ended up getting on the end of was through Eriksen, like through Eriksen's crosses, through the plays that he set up. So I think him being missing out of the squad has been a big hit on him. And yeah, it's just been downhill since then. And I think he really had to sort of move on for his own sake. So I think Everton's probably a good club to do that, to be honest with you. Stays in the Prem. Obviously, they're not doing well this year, but you never know. With Lampard coming in, or maybe some other players, they could hopefully get back to the level they sort of were at before, like mid-table to Europe, like pushing places.
Yeah, it's a great point. Although Everton are falling a little bit lower than that, obviously, like you said, Lampard coming in, he obviously believes in him to an extent, and they've actually got some other signings coming in. Obviously, Donny van der Beek got over the line today as well. So
I like him a lot.
Everton have a lot to look forward to. Obviously, Rafa Benitez was never going to work out. No one understands that move. The only people that found that interesting was Liverpool fans, I guess. But I think you're right. Dele Alli probably needed to go 1 or 2 seasons ago. But yeah, it's obviously it's still a little bit of a shame knowing he's still 25 years of age. Potentially could hit the ground running at Everton, and we're kicking ourselves in the teeth. But at the end of the day, if he's not going to perform for the last 2-3 years, he clearly wanted to change. And all the best to him. I think all the best to him.
Yeah, you know what? I think this just happens, to be honest with you, with players. Like there are just certain clubs that it will work at. Maybe it's just like a matter of having a change of pace as well, moving to a different club. And I think it's just one of them ones where, all right, yeah, maybe if Delhi becomes really good again at Everton, everyone's going to say, oh, see, we should have kept him. But look, let's be real. If we did keep him, he might never have made it back to that point. Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I feel like sometimes they just need to move on, go to a new club. They'll do well there, sort of thing. I mean, Trippier's a good example of that. A lot of fans wanted him out big time when we were selling him. We got rid of him, and he ended up winning La Liga with Atletico Madrid.
Yeah.
And now all of a sudden everyone's panicking and saying, oh, see, we never should have sold him, this, that, and the other. But I'm not being funny. He wouldn't have won the league with Spurs, so it's not like you see what I mean. It's not not as black and white as that. So I think it's good for him to move on. To be honest with you.
Do you think it's weird from fans, because I've seen a lot of fans also on Twitter going what you're saying about getting Kieran Trippier back, for example, and a lot of fans saying like we should have gone back in for Eriksen. Do you think that Spurs fans need to move on a bit from them? Like, for example, Eriksen, there was a reason he left. He didn't want to be there in the end. He probably went a transfer window too late. He obviously wanted Inter. His heart was set on it, and we didn't go and let him go in January. Obviously, everyone's seen what happened in the Amazon documentary. So do you think fans need to forget the sentimental factor sometimes and sort of move on from players that aren't performing well?
I think a little bit, yeah. But to be honest with you, I'd be lying if I said I wasn't sort of reeling myself into it sometimes. Like Eriksen's a good example of that. I feel it depends, right? Because I think myself, and I know a lot of Spurs fans are probably the same. We desperately want a creative midfielder, right?
Yeah.
And it's the fact that we haven't made moves for anyone else makes me think, well, why don't we go back in for Eriksen because he was available at the time and so on and so forth. But you're right, you do got to consider the fact that he, it was probably like a year, maybe a year and a half. His form was dropping massively before we actually ended up getting rid of him. I think the difference is, though, he managed to move on to another club, had success with Inter, and obviously the incidents that happened in the Euros last year. Medically, they're saying he's fine. So maybe him moving away, he could have come back and started performing well again because he sort of had that experience elsewhere. But at the end of the day, it hasn't happened. And again, with Trippier, it's just one of them ones where I feel like we just didn't recruit well enough to replace him. I think it's happened like in a chain now. So we had it with Walker, replaced him with Trippier. Trippier wasn't as good as Walker, but he's better than what we had with Aurea. But then we're trying to replace Aurea, and then Emerson doesn't seem to be as good either. So I feel like a lot of it is more down to our recruitment after these players leave, which kind of makes fans think, you know what, let's go back to the one before because it's better. Let's go back to Walker. Let's go back to Trippier. Let's do
same with obviously Moussa Dembele, Toby Alderweireld. Exactly. Although we haven't been linked with them back, like you think about it, we haven't actually replaced those players to their full extent. Obviously, it's very hard to replace a Moussa Dembele and a Toby Alderweireld, but it's not like we even tried to replace them at times, was it?
Well, I mean, it's weirdly enough, I feel like Ndombele was supposed to be Dembele's replacement.
Yeah,
and given the season he had in Europe with Lyon at the time, like he battered Man. Obviously, it didn't go through in the end, but they battered Man City for the most part, and he performed outstandingly against them in the Champions League and throughout the league. So it was just one of them ones where we paid a lot of money to try and beat teams like City and United to a player. It just didn't work out this time. So, but other than that, you're right though. We haven't really replaced Toby. We only started doing it with getting Romero in, but there's still a lot more work to do.
Yeah, you're spot on. What are your thoughts on? Obviously, I'll ask you about your overall thoughts on the window in a little bit. But what are your thoughts on Giovanni Lo Celso and Brian Hill both going on loans to Spanish clubs, Valencia and Villarreal, respectively? Like, what do you see that as a sensible move? Especially Brian Hill. A lot of people are saying, well, why is he being loaned out? Maybe should have loaned him out to an English team for physicality reasons. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think in Hill's case, I personally think that a Prem team would have been ideal. I think it's right for him to be loaned out because at the end of the day, we've only got the FA Cup and the league now that we're in. And knowing Conte, he's going to just be playing the first team every single game from now on. And we've already seen, even off of the bench, Hill maybe gets 5 minutes maximum. So I think for his own sake, it's good for him to get a loan because he'll get more minutes under his belt, hopefully come back a better player next year. But you're right. I feel like him going back to La Liga he's not necessarily going to learn anything new. He might just be comfortable playing there. And all right, he will get more minutes and keep fit. But if he moved to I don't know, Crystal Palace, just as an example, if he had a loan at Crystal Palace, he might have had a chance at getting more minutes. Maybe not them specifically because they got Zaha. But you see what I mean?
Yeah,
a team
I get what you're saying.
In the Premier League that will allow him to sort of, get to grips with what it's like, what other teams are like to be in and whatnot in this league. So yeah, I'm a bit disappointed it wasn't a Prem team, but again, I'm not too disappointed he's been loaned out because I think he deserves the minutes and some game time. And regarding Lo Celso, I mean, I backed him for a long time when we had him to begin with, and I sort of just kind of put it down to his injuries and was thinking, no, he's just injured. When he's get back, he's going to do better. He shows some moments where he helps us going forward. But to be honest with you, throughout the whole of this season, I've been extremely disappointed with him. Like, again, just constantly injured. But even when he is back, he's not contributing to goals. If he's come off the bench, I don't think he's changed much. There's maybe been the odd game where he has a little bit, but it's just definitely not. And bearing in mind, he's supposed to be the Eriksen replacement to begin with. And he's not getting anywhere near the numbers. If we brought in Bruno Fernandes instead in that summer, which is what we should have done, it could be a completely different story. So
Dybala as well.
I think, yeah, exactly. So you know what? I feel like these players, I'm happy with that they're moving on. And of course, trying to sell them this window, given the price tag that they have, is going to be impossible. So I think a loan for now even if Villarreal don't make a move, he could go somewhere else in the summer.
Yeah.
I think we probably will try and move on. I think Conte's made it clear what midfielders he wants and what he doesn't want. So
yeah, Spawn, he's made that very clear. He's cut him right down the middle, and obviously Ndombele is the other one we sort of haven't fully touched on. Ndombele obviously loaned to buy option with Lyon, 60 million, or is it 65 million, Andre?
65 euros.
65,
I think, right?
yeah. I don't know how Leon could accept that. That's a lot.
Well, do you know what? I think
we'd get all our money back if they take it.
Can you imagine? We made money on him.
Yeah.
But I think it's obviously a tactic that Lyon have used before. I can't remember what player, but they've done it before where they've done a ridiculous fee and obviously they just take the loan and give the player back. So I feel like it's just like they're dipping their toe in the water for 6 more months and they're going to see how Ndombele performs in the Farmer League again. Maybe he'll go back to his best, but yeah, I think he's going to have to move on regardless in the summer. I don't see us wanting him back. But George, another question. Obviously, Lo Celso was on about 150k a week, ridiculous money, and Ndombele was on nearly 200k a week, and Dele Alli was on ridiculous wages. Say that's 500k. With Kulusevski obviously coming in, we'll touch on the transfers in just a moment, and Bentancur. Do you think the fact we've really, sort of got rid of a lot of our wages we're on and got a lot more wage budget coming in, do you think we should have forked out for 1 or 2 more players on higher wages and potentially at world-class status?
Well, I think we should have just brought in more players in general. And obviously, like you said, with the wage difference, we definitely could have done that. What's weird about it is that I've heard some people say that, it's just preparations for the summer, but it doesn't quite make sense because a lot of these players are only out on loan until the end of the season. We don't know if we're going to be able to sell Lo Celso or sell Ndombele again, etc., etc. So it felt like when we were getting rid of all these midfielders that we were making space for someone else to come in. Not even necessarily big, just someone else on top of the players currently to help out the squad. But looks like that's not going to happen in the end. No. So I think in this case, it's not really to do with getting the players off the wage bills, and it was just the case of getting these sort of players out of the club. I think Conte's just made it abundantly clear he can't have lazy midfielders. And if you look at the track record of the 3 that have gone, that's pretty much what it is. Like he's used Højbjerg, Winks, and Skip every game because they work hard and they play to the system that he wants.
Yeah.
Weirdly enough, and as annoyingly, I crave a creative midfielder as well. I don't think Conte works that way. I don't think his systems work that way. I think he just uses 2 sort of workhorses in central midfield and relies on his wing backs and his wingers for a lot of creativity. So what kind of annoys me a bit is that we didn't use the space to then go for a proper right wing back rather than Traore. So I'm gutted that hasn't happened, but it might just be the case that there's just not any top players available in January and we just kind of have to make do. And as well on that, I think that's another reason why we signed Kulusevski is that the fact that he is a right winger. I think we're going to stick with a 3-4-3 formation, and I think he's going to be used a lot to help out Emerson on the right. I think a lot of the times in games, Emerson has been isolated by himself. We're completely relying on him for crosses and deliveries into the box, and he's obviously not good enough at that yet. So I think we've signed the right winger in order to help him out. Considering the fact that there aren't really that many top right wing backs available in January.
Yeah, I feel like you said about the 3-4-3, sort of Conte started with a 5-3-2 up front with sort of playing like Lucas alongside Kane or Son alongside Kane. And then he sort of moved to those almost doubling up on the wings, hasn't he? And we saw it against Chelsea. It didn't work out, obviously, but playing like Sessegnon and who was on the left as well, like Ben Davies on the left, and then we had on the other side we had Emerson doubled up with Doherty. It was really random. We were playing like almost 6 defenders with like 2 wing backs, wasn't it? But obviously that, like you said, Kulusevski, it comes in and provides an actual right wing option rather than a double right wing back option. So I think you're right on that. And obviously Emerson's crosses has been the sort of question mark under his game. So spot on, George, with those points. Do you think it will be a 5-3-2 under Conte, or do you think he'll try this 3-4-3?
I think 3-4-3, given the players we've got. I think when Son comes back, Son's going to be left wing, and then either Kulusevski or Lucas right wing. I imagine he'll rotate them quite often. With Kane up top by himself, which is weird because I quite like the 2 up top. I think it worked really, really well. Was it when we did it against Liverpool, or there was a couple of games when we did it where I thought we looked
Lucas and Kane, wasn't it?
Yeah, and I think we looked a lot more solid because we had three in the middle, so there was a lot more cover for all the players. Because the problem is with the two in the middle currently, because they're not really at the top level that we need. It's tough. Like I think a lot of the times, maybe Winks and Højbjerg or Skip or Højbjerg or whatever the combo was, more often than not, they were getting overrun. And I think when we swapped to a three, it helped out a lot more because they had a lot more cover for each other. And I think Son and Lucas, they did quite well as strikers. But given the signings we have now and the fact that we've signed, I don't know how to pronounce it, probably
Bentancur.
Bentancur. Since we signed him, I think we'll probably go back to two in the middle and three up top.
So if you think, I think you might be right, George, but if you think two in the middle, who comes out? Is it Skip or Højbjerg?
To be honest, oh god, it's going to change a lot. I feel like it will be Højbjerg mainly because I think he's the closest to how he plays. I always think that Winks and Skip are fairly similar, and I think Højbjerg and I forgot everybody again. Bentancur. I think they're probably closest in match sort of thing. Yeah. What would be nice is to see them in the middle three, because I don't like dropping Højbjerg, but I just don't think he's necessarily had the best season this year.
Yeah,
I think last year he was outstanding for us and his work rate's great, but this year there's been quite a few moments he's given the ball away or maybe not been able to tackle the players as well as we thought. So I think there's just going to be a lot of rotation, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I think, like you said, I think there'll be a lot of experimenting from Conte straight away. Do you think Kulusevski gets straight into the starting 11?
Tough to say, to be honest with you. Probably not. I imagine he'll start with Lucas and maybe introduce him with maybe a couple of sub appearances here and there. To be honest, maybe we'll give him a run out to begin with against Brighton in the FA Cup.
Yeah, FA Cup, right.
Brighton have been proven to be a tough team this year, so maybe he won't risk it to begin with and might bring him on if things are going well. But to be honest, I think he can adapt quite well. He's quite a big frame for a young forward. Something that obviously Hill doesn't have, which is why I think he needs to work on his strength. And yeah, it just gives us a good option at right wing that can also play as a second striker, can play behind the front too. He seems to be quite a versatile player, so I'm looking forward to seeing what he can do, to be honest.
Exactly. Similar to this point from Frankie in the chat saying Kulu suits Conte's style to a T. The creative winger is exactly what we need. And obviously Conte will get the best out of him. Sort of what you're saying there, George, in terms of like that versatility. He can also move inside as a second striker as well. So that's, I think, why we went for him in the end is like you said, if we go from a 3-4-3 to a 5-3-2, we can almost double up with Kane up front when Son's not available. Yeah. Maybe, Kane comes off and Kulusevski comes on. I just think that centre mid position is the one that's most uncertain in that squad at the moment for me. Yeah. I don't know if it will be Højbjerg or Skip coming out. I think it would be a shame if Skip comes out just because of how well he's done coming back from that loan and how positive he's been. But then obviously you got to think, where does Lucas Moura fit into all of this? And Bergwijn, it's a lot. Although our squad's quite thin, there's actually a lot of positions up for grabs. So it's actually quite a clever window. Although we've only signed 2 players, thinking about it further and having all these discussions, there's actually a lot of competition for places, isn't there?
Yeah, I think that the problem we've always had is we've looked to the bench this season and we've had nothing good to bring on. With the fact that Ndombele's not been doing well, Lascelles not been doing well or injured, Dele's not been doing well. Even then, like Bergwijn was injured in part. He looked like he was going to go, and of course, sort of turned it around with that Leicester game. And even at times, Lucas hasn't been his best either. I think he's been one of our better players. Don't get me wrong, but there have been games where we also needed something different, but we just didn't have anything on the bench to do that. And now you're telling me we've got a right winger that can either start ahead of Lucas, come on for Lucas. I think there's a lot more versatility across our front three now, which is good. But I'm just worried about the right wing back situation and whether the centre mids are actually good enough. That's sort of my main concerns. But we'll see. We can only wait and see what these players are like, whether it's been a good window or not. It's all hindsight at the end of the day. But I think we've sort of set ourselves up nicely for the summer, but we're in a crucial position now where we could easily get top 4. And if we don't get that by the end of the season, there's going to be a lot of question marks as to why we haven't done more in this January window.
Yeah, I think your main point there before about the hindsight and my hindsight of my internet staying put for this 2 hours. But like you said, the hindsight is going to be a wonderful thing in the summer, because this is what I said on the Irish Hotspurs channel earlier. We were sort of saying, do you think this is a successful window? Those guys were saying, it's been a brilliant window. And I was saying, well, hang on a minute. We'll really judge that in May, June time, where if we don't make top 4, that's going to be technically looked back at January, we should have signed 1 or 2 more players. And secondly, if we don't get top 4, we haven't got that lure to bring players in with the Champions League football, that prestigious sort of attraction. And, for me, that really does hinge on this window, because we're going to be looking back and going, Christ, we should have got a centre-back. We've leaked too many goals, or why didn't we sort out a right wing-back situation? Why did we get more forwards when we've already got Bergwijn playing well, Lucas, etc.? So I think you're right, George. I think we can only judge this window in time. And although that's quite a, like sitting on the fence answer, I agree, because this is exactly what I was saying. Because although, we might think Paratici's come up with a masterclass here and got rid of 4 lazy players. Well, that's a bit harsh on Hill. Maybe 3 lazy players and Hill. We might be saying, well, actually, we had Brian Hill. Why have we got Kulusevski coming in? And we had centre mid options. So why are we getting Bentancur in? I would personally, and I don't know if you agree with me, I would have got another centre back, just because I still don't trust Sanchez. Dyer's got a mistake in him. Yes, he's been brilliant this season, but although, we all know what Dyer can be like. Romero's injured, although he's coming back, but you don't know if he's going to get injured again. Tanganga has been absolutely dreadful, and I was like one of his biggest fans, the last season when he came through the ranks and everything. He's been shocking.
Even the start of the season, he did well. He did well against City, the first 3 games, and then after that, just
it's been awful. Yeah, and Ben Davies is obviously a temporary sort of paper over the cracks option at left centre back. So I would have got another centre back personally, but I don't know what you're thinking. What was your priority at the start of the window?
No, I agree with you to an extent. I think again, for me, I think you're right. I think the right wing back for me was crucial. I wasn't keen on Traore coming in the first place, but it did frustrate me that he was the name that we linked with the most, and we just sort of let it get away. So then it left it too late, so we couldn't bring someone in. I think the difficulty is for a left centre back. I thought would have been a massive priority for us this window, and you're right. I think that would be very important, especially with how important these centre backs in the back 3 are to Conte. I think the problem is, for the level of centre-back that we want to get and what Conte will want to get to be able to challenge properly next year, I don't really know who we could have gone for this window that would have been available. I mean, if you think in the summer, Sula's going to be available for a free, which could be a good punt for that central defensive position. I think there's quite a few players available for in the free in the summer. Who's the centre-back for Mönchengladbach? He's on a free as well, I think.
Is that the Andre? Your European football knowledge is quite good. Who's the centre back available from Mönchengladbach? Someone in the chat might get it anyway.
It's a German. He's available, and I can't remember who it is.
From Mönchengladbach.
Wait, is it Mönchengladbach? Ginter, or is it Leverkusen?
Ginter, right? Yeah, it makes sense.
I'm not sure about that one.
But there's they're not the only ones. There's loads of other options, and I think at the end of the day, to get a top class centre back in January, we need to we're not at Liverpool. We're not going to spend 75 million on a Van Dijk. That's just not going to happen.
Well, we don't. Yeah, exactly. We haven't signed we haven't got rid of a big player like Coutinho like they did. I mean, as everyone knows, Coutinho went for 100 million, and they got in Alisson and Van Dijk for the same price. It was ridiculous business. What was going to put? Yeah, Aaron's available 15 to 20 mil from Norwich. What are your thoughts on him as a right wing back?
I really liked Aaron's when I saw him when they were in the Premier League previously, and I thought he looked good again when they played against us. So I feel like he could have been a good punter, and I'm surprised that we weren't linked with him again, because I know we were a couple of seasons ago. But again, I don't know. It's just it's hard to tell with some of these players whether they'll actually perform to the level that we actually need. And again, Lamptey is a player I love and I wish would go after him. But again, he also has a huge hamstring injury problem, given how young he is, and he's been out for a long time, multiple times with this hamstring issue. So we can't just willy-nilly go spend 50 million on him because that's his price tag. I think the problem is there just aren't that many top options available that we could get. We're not going to get a Reece James from Chelsea. We're not going to get Trent from Liverpool. We're not going to get Hakimi from PSG. Like these sort of players, we're not going to get. And when you're looking at the best of the rest, there aren't too many options available. So I think the summer's going to give us a bigger chance to get a better player in that sort of position.
Yeah, I think you're right. Summer's going to be really important, but for me, like it's the point I made earlier. If we haven't got Champions League football, or maybe not even Europa League football, dare I even say it, we're going to struggle to attract those players. Like, say for
No, I
example,
agree.
like you said, Sven Botman's one I'm thinking of. Lille's come out today and he's come out with a statement saying Newcastle and was it Lyon were interested in him, and he's
I
decided to stay
think
at
it's AC
Lille.
Milan.
AC Milan, sorry, AC Milan and
Wasn't it like
Newcastle
40
came in for
million
Botman.
euros they'd rejected
Yeah,
or
yeah.
something like that?
He's decided to stay, but he said the summer might be where my future changes. Sven Botman's available, right? But say we finish fifth, right? We get Europa League football, and let's say, for example, Chelsea decide to need another centre back. Maybe Rudiger's going to Real Madrid, as the talks say. Sven Botman's going to Chelsea over Tottenham if they've got Champions League football, right? So this is why I'm saying maybe we should have got one or two more signings to push top four to then be able to attract the bigger signings. I think we're kind of.
I definitely agree with you. I definitely agree with
Yeah.
that. Like I'm not over the moon with this window. I think in terms of outgoings, I think it's been great. I think we've gotten rid of the sort of players we needed to for Conte to just get on with what he wants. But considering that realistically we've only spent 16 million in this window, because obviously Kulusevski's a loan, Bentancur's it was like 15.8 mil.
Yeah.
To begin with potentially 10 million add-ons. So we haven't really spent a lot, and I know we haven't exactly sold players, but it feels like we could have done more for sure.
Yeah.
Especially now that our squad looks fairly thin on paper, in like central midfield, and obviously the right wing backs aren't good enough. So, but yeah, again, it's annoying. It's just one of the ones. It's literally a time will tell situation. I think we've signed a good couple of players, but we had to do more. And we'll just have to wait and see if Conte works his magic or not, and we somehow get top four anyway. If Man U keep going the way they're going, we've still got a good chance of it. So I think it's just been a very average window for me personally.
Yeah. I think George, you summarised that very well, and also like obviously we got to remember that some of the top four candidates that are fighting for that top four haven't strengthened. You know, Arsenal haven't had any incomings. It looks like Aubameyang's going to Barcelona. That's going to go over the line, which I cannot believe why Barcelona are going for him. I mean, when you look at it though, they got Depay and Martin Braithwaite, so I can kind of see it in a sense. But they've had like 6 or 7 outgoings, no incomings. I don't believe Man United have had any incomings. West Ham have had very little, if they've had any. So technically, we've done more business than them. Obviously,
realistically, the only teams that have done anything are like Villa and Newcastle.
Yeah,
and like the only ones that have done like a lot of business, and that's because obviously Villa have got a new manager. He's trying to bring his own stuff. He's got obviously good connections with Coutinho and these other players. So that he was, and to be fair, they had a lot of money left over from the Jack Grealish thing. And this goes back to what you're saying about Liverpool. Like they sold a big player for a lot of money, and their owners are rich and willing to spend. And Newcastle have got new owners that are rich and willing to spend. Whereas you look at pretty much everyone else in the league, no one's bought anyone. We forced Liverpool to buy Diaz early. Diaz was always going to go there. He's been their target for a long time. He was going to go there in the summer, but us putting an official bid in just basically forced their hand to do the deal early. So there was nothing really we could do about that. But yeah, like you said, no one else has done anything. So, but then I don't know. I'm just like in such a middle place, because it's all well and good saying that we've done more than someone else, but then is it going to be enough for us to get that top four? I don't know. I honestly don't know right now. We're just going to have to wait and see if these players are going to be good enough and help us there.
Yeah, spot on. And I think the fact we're 2 points behind Man United in fourth with 2 games in hand obviously shows what a great job Conte's done, only losing 1 Premier League game since he's been here since November. But maybe these 2 players can boost us even more and boost our chances top 4. But I know what you're saying, George, because I felt the exact same earlier when I was on that channel. I said, like, we can only judge this window in June, because it's either going to be a massive success and those players helped us over the line. You know, Kulusevski is like that second, third goal contributor over Son and Kane. And, you know, Bentancur improves our centre mid and bolsters that. Or it's going to be Kulusevski isn't made for the Prem. Bentancur is not even starting. Why didn't we sign some starting players? And we finished 5th or 6th. That is literally the story.
Exactly. I think as well, I think the problem is as well, I think some fans do need to not overreact in terms of the type of players we are getting. I think bringing in someone like Conte, there weirdly seems to be this expectation that we're going to sign these massive, world-renowned players. But if you actually look at his track history of the players that he's brought into clubs, they've not been huge, massive signings. He brought Ashley Young to Inter, Moses at Chelsea, and I think Inter as well, right? The names that he brings in aren't necessarily these massive names. Even
I would say Lukaku
I think,
too.
What's that? Sorry.
I would say Lukaku as well. Like he's super good now, but the state of him when he came in was not the case at all. I have a friend who's an Inter fan, and he was mad at the Lukaku transfer.
Exactly.
Then he regretted those words like 2 months later.
Was it Brozovic as well? Apparently he was stinky before he went to Inter, and now he's like one of the best centre mids in Serie A. So like there seems to be this weird expectation that we have to sign these massive players to improve us, but Conte doesn't want that. He just wants players that will work hard for his very, very specific system. And I think a lot of our players have said that in some interviews already recently, or at some point since he's come in, saying that he just has a very specific way you have to play his way. And if he's getting the players he wants that are going to play that way, then happy days, we should be fine. But yeah, I don't know. I just think a couple more signings or at least one first team signing would have been nice. But yeah, it seems to be a tough window for everyone apart from Villa and Newcastle. So
yeah, Villa have had the best window, and Newcastle obviously signed some unbelievable players because of that money. Picky Panda says, can't see Spurs missing out on Champions League here. The ball is in their court, and they have Conte making magic already. Not to mention the incredible inconsistency of most teams fighting top four. Yeah, I mean, a lot of people are feeling like this is all we needed, but a lot of people are thinking like myself and George, like Champions League. The Champions League push needed a couple of starting players, and Kulusevski and Bentancur aren't necessarily starting players. I know people think they'll fit in straight away, but is Kulusevski better than Lucas and Bergwijn? I don't know. I don't think so.
Yeah.
Obviously, we'll see.
We'll see.
Yeah. Listen, George, I know you're a busy guy, and we massively appreciate your time already. So I'm going to give you a summarizing question. Talk us through finally how you rate this window out of 10. I know it's a hard one to judge, and what you think Spurs should be focused on in the summer window coming up.
Okay. I would give it a 6 at the moment because I think it's definitely above 5. Like it's above average because of the players that we've managed to get rid of. I think we've just had to get these sort of players out of the team and just kind of work with the best ones that we've got. And I am happy with the players we've brought in. I think they look like good signings for good prices as well. But it's just not enough for me. I would have liked either a starting right wing back, a starting left centre back, or at least another striker to play alongside Kane up front.
Yeah.
So and again, that 6 could become a 7 or an 8, or if we get, it could become a 9 if we get Champions League football. For all I know, but for now, I think I'm content with it, and I'm just waiting to see what the players are going to be like. And regarding the summer, I think someone put in the chat earlier, but a player I've liked to look a lot of for right wing back is Baku.
Yep.
I think he is a very, very good option because I didn't make it in the end, but I was going to do a video a week or so ago, just taking the positions that Conte wanted the most: centre back, right wing back, centre mid, and striker, and just trying to find other options that people aren't really talking about as much. And when I was trying to compare players across Europe, Baku came at the top of the list for pretty much the majority of the stats. That obviously the likes of Trent and Co are going to be above him, but like best of the rest, basically.
Yeah.
So I'd love to see us potentially go for him if Lamptey's not an option. Striker, like you said, with maybe if Botman's leaving in Lille, Jonathan David said he wants to leave as well.
Yeah.
In the summer. So that's
I am loving that because as a Canadian, I'm trying to build that hype up right now. Like that would be.
No, go ahead.
Go on. What I was gonna say is that sorry, I was just gonna say that I mean, with Vlahovic being taken to Juventus now, I feel like that's the only other upcoming player really that could truly, start building his way up to Kane's level. Hopefully, I don't know if you've been seeing maybe creeping a bit in his Canada games, but he had a really crazy goal against against Honduras. You saw how he controlled that with his chest and then put it forward with his head. Oh, so good.
Beautiful. No, I've been keeping an eye on that because I've been seeing that Canada have been smashing it in their qualifications. So no, he's a player that looks I think, like you said, I agree that if we're looking for a player to either replace Kane if he does go, or even just to play alongside him at a top level, because like Conte said in his press conference, he wants another striker that can get to Kane, or if not, is at Kane's level. Realistically, as much as everyone would love a Prem proven striker, I don't know who we would get that is on that level from the Premier League. And I think, like you said, Vlahovic for me was the dream signing up front. Is obviously out the window now because he's gone to Juventus, and there just aren't really that many other top options. I think Patrick Schick is another name to probably keep an eye on because he's been even performing better than Haaland in the Bundesliga this season. So
he's got more goals than games, by the way. That guy.
Yeah, he's been smashing it this year, and obviously he had a great Euros as well for the Czech Republic. That halfway line goal was incredible. So I think there's a few names to keep an eye on. I think centre back, there's a good free option. Sula, like you said, bottom as well. I think potentially De Vrij. I think he's going to have a year left come the summer. So I think that could be an important one because obviously Conte's worked for him before, and I think he would probably be my top target for centre back in the summer. So if you've got Romero, De Vrij, and then maybe one other, Botman, because I think Botman's left-footed, right? I think he would play on the left. So
left centre back. That's what I'm saying.
If he played the left centre back, De Vrij in the middle, Romero right, that is a saucy back three. So I don't know, man. I think that there's a lot to look forward to in the summer one because I think a lot more doors open than they do here. So someone say Rafinha is an unbelievable shout. He's the one I wanted us to do. Well, when the Diaz money, wherever that has gone, I was like, I don't know why we didn't go for him. I mean, I can't imagine Rafinha would happen now, especially with the Kulusevski signing, unless we do move on. If we do move on Bergwijn, and if for whatever reason Lucas does leave as well, then maybe But I don't know, man. I'm excited for the summer, but I think the key thing now is just to win these games in hand, try and get top four, because that would be huge for the business that we do next year.
Yeah, you're spot on, George. I know I said that was your last question, but I'm going to give you one more very, very quick question. Other than the signings and everything, and you're giving it a 6 out of 10, which I think is very fair. Are we getting top four? Yes or no?
I think so. Why not?
Love it.
I think given the fact that Arsenal have sold everyone, I think we've got a better squad than them now, and I think we're better than them anyway. I think Man United's going to be our only real contender for it. So it's just totally dependent on whether Rangnick can kick them into gear, because I do think Man United have got a better squad than us. And given their front line alone, we all know what Ronaldo does for teams. Yeah. So it's going to be, in my opinion, between us and them. But listen, look, if we win our 3 games in hand, that puts us a point ahead of Chelsea. So it puts us in a great position to get top 4, and I don't see why we can't do it.
Love it, mate. Love it. Yeah, I'm feeling optimistic, but at the same time, there's still those pessimistic thoughts in my head about 1 or 2 more signings should have been made. Especially if we went in on Diaz, we had that money. Like, where's it suddenly gone? Back into Levy land, developing the cinema. But without going on a Levy rant, George, massively appreciate your time, mate. I know you're a busy guy and creating loads of content and way back on the YouTube grind as you always have been. So yeah, and obviously your TikTok's popping at the moment. I've seen a few viral ones.
It's coming.
Yeah, it's great. That one, what is it? The talking to the moon one did make me laugh when you accidentally go to a football game. It's like 1.5 million views, I think.
1.5 mil now. If you search if you press on the audio on TikTok, mine's like the 10th video or something like that.
Wow. Which is just a silly little TikTok that suddenly goes viral. Like, it is brilliant. Brilliant. That's what it is, though.
That's what it is.
But guys, if you don't follow George on all socials, go and check him out, especially on YouTube and TikTok, where he provides lots of content. You know, Spurs vlogs. He goes to most of the away games, all the home games. So go and check his content out, guys. And again, George, thank you very much for joining us today, mate. Yeah, really appreciate it.
No, thank you, guys. And I look forward to being on soon. Good luck with the rest of the stream.
Legend, mate. Yeah, we're here till 11, but all the best, George. Take care, mate.
All right. See you later, guys.
Thanks, mate. See ya. All right, that was George Achillea, guys. Make sure you go and check him out. Like I said, if you don't already, follow him, subscribe to his YouTube, go and show him some support, and go and tell him that SpursRelated sent you here. But anyway, back to the comments. We still have Papa Sarr coming in the summer. It's a very good point, Stephen.
True.
Very, very good point.
How's he been doing this? How's he been doing this season?
What? Still in the French league? Not entirely sure, but a lot of people are really hyped to get him back in, aren't they?
Yeah. Oh, well, let's see how he does, because that is another defensive midfielder we have, right? So that's 5 right there. Or who knows? Maybe Conte decides to pick one to get rid of by the end of the season and then bring in Pape. So we'll see. Add more competition. Yeah.
Schick is solid. Juve wanted him in 2017, but it never happened, sadly. Would definitely be a good signing for Spurs. He's on fire in the Bundesliga. Absolutely on fire. Absolutely on fire. But guys, as we said, we are going on till 11 o'clock, all the way to the end of the window. So make sure you keep up that support. Keep sending in your comments and discussion points, and we'll get them read out. Quite a few people are still in here. Make sure you hit the thumbs up button, because it really helps the YouTube algorithms and really boosts our channel, guys. And we want to keep doing this more. So make sure you hit the like button and subscribe if you're new as well. It goes a long way. And obviously, shout out to you guys that do it. Let us know, and we'll obviously be sure to be very thankful of that. Picky Panda also says Chelsea only seem to sharp against Spurs these days, and there's no more games versus them this year. Won't be surprised if they miss out on top 5. Wow. Looked it up. He's doing all right. He's still really young, though. Is that Pape Sarr? Brilliant.
Yeah,
Good news.
Yeah.
Smithy, I didn't ignore your comment earlier. It was just we were talking about Tottenham, so I didn't want to start talking about Liverpool. Thoughts on them? They've just signed Fabio Carvalho, who is a Portuguese player.
Fulham, right?
Yeah. I'm not too sure on this one. I don't feel like he's going to be a starter, of course, but potentially could be a good signing. Klopp obviously sees something in him, so yeah, why not? He might not fit in straight away because he needs to get used to the system, but yes, he's better than Lucas and Stevie in the long run. That's about Kulusevski. Fair enough, good point. Do you think Lo Celso has a future at Spurs? And if not, which playmaker should we go for? I don't think Lo Celso has a future at Spurs. I'll let you answer this one, Andre. But what playmaker do we go for? A bit like George said, like, it's not necessarily the system that Conte plays with a playmaker, but obviously I'd probably go for someone like maybe you want almost creative players that wide that can play inside as well. Could maybe even Rafinha come in as a number 10? Who knows? Rafinha, obviously, good option off the wing, good creative player, assists a lot of goals, potentially. But I'm just trying to think of a centre attacking mid if we played a 5-2-1-2. It's a position that's sort of like dwindling these days in terms of there's not many about, and if they are, they're world class and not almost achievable. Who would you say in that creative midfielder role, Andre?
It's really hard to think about right now who's available, especially because a lot of teams are opting for a 4-3-3. So it's not saying that all of them do that, and there are players out there, but they're few and far between now. It's not so much the 4-2-3-1 or Conte's system of the 5-2-1-3 or the 5-3-2. So it just depends, but I do think that at the moment it'll just be seeing who can adapt into that number 10 role right now. Maybe Kulusevski or Lucas Moura, which we've seen. But I don't know. I'm a loss for words for a cam right now. I can't think of any right now, to be honest.
Yeah. I've just seen something on social media in terms of squad depth, right? So we've got obviously Lloris in goal, Galini as a backup. Then our 3 centre-backs, Davies or Tanganga, Dyer or Rodon, Romero or Sanchez. Then we got right wing back Royale or Doherty. Left wing back we got Reguilon or Sessegnon. Centre mids we've got Højbjerg or Skip, and Bentancur or Winks. Then the 3 up front we got Son or Bergwijn. Right wing we've got Lucas or Kulusevski. And up front we've got Kane. Obviously we haven't got the backup option for Kane, but Son can play as a striker, Bergwijn can play as a striker, Lucas can play as a striker, Kulusevski can play as a striker. So in terms of those second strikers, we've got that option. So in terms of that squad depth, I'm quite happy with it looking at that. But it's obviously going to be an interesting one. Who's going to get the starting 11 positions? It's going to be a great battle, guys. I asked the question earlier, and we had a couple of comments come in. But who is your starting 11 right now? Give us the starting 11 with the formation, and we'll take in those comments and read them out. Andre, I think I asked you earlier. I could be wrong, but I'm going to hit you with the question of give me your starting 11 right now.
Lloris, Reguilon, Romero, Dyer, Sanchez, unfortunately. Emerson, and then Højbjerg, Bentancur, Lucas Moura, Kane's son. Yeah. I think Kulusevski, as I've seen his highlights, but any highlights can make any player look good.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I probably look good on YouTube as well, Jay. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. You just take a few good moments, you compile them, add some saucy music, and you add some effects for every goal, and you look amazing. So it's one of those things where for Kulu specifically, I feel like we're gonna have to see how he does, how Conte makes him fit into the team, and he'll have to fight his way in. Same thing with Bentancur, but I feel like he's more experienced. He's 20, 26, 25? 25, while Kulusevski's 21. So we'll
Good
see
point,
about that one. How about you?
I go Lloris in goal. I think it's probably going to be the same as you. Lloris in goal. Right wing back, I still think you'd play Emerson. 3 centre backs, I think you've got to go Romero when fit, Dyer and Davies. Unfortunately, maybe that's different to you. I think you said Sanchez. I'd go left centre back Davies, centre back Dyer, right centre back Romero, left wing back Reguilon. And then I'd go. This is a difficult one. Do we do 5-2-3 or 5-3-2? I think just based on the signings, you go 5-2-3, and you put in the middle, you go with Bentancur and Skip. Potentially Højbjerg. It's a difficult one between Skip and Højbjerg. And then the 3 up front, I think when they're fit, you go left wing Son, striker Kane, right wing. Yeah, it's difficult. I wouldn't drop Lucas at the moment. I see how Kulusevski settles in and potentially could knock on that door and potentially come in as a forward. But let's see. I think at the moment Lucas has had such a good season. I think he's been one of our best players, so I'd keep him in that starting 11 for now.
Oh, that's not bad.
So actually, I think we had quite more differences than we thought. Did you say Kulusevski to come straight in?
No, I didn't. No, I put him on. I put him on the bench just because I feel like I just feel like he needs to work his way in, to be honest. But I mean, hey, prove me wrong. If Kulu proves me wrong, I'm not going to be upset about that.
Yeah. Sepe's in here, says, do you see more appearances for youngsters? Thoughts about Harvey White? Conte blocked that one from going through. He obviously sees something in Harvey White. Maybe we'll see more of him off the bench. Good player, exciting player. Maybe not quite ready for first team, a bit like a Dane Scarlett, but certainly one for the future for sure. Leo Ball says, do I know how long Son is out for? We don't know that. There's a lot of talks after the international break, but potentially could be a little bit longer. But no news on that one. William Pretty's in here. He says, is there any more news? At the moment, it doesn't look like there's going to be any more signings, mate. I mean, we've got about, 25 minutes left. I just don't see it happening. I don't see us getting any more signings coming through the door. I think that's it for Tottenham. I think we've had those 4 outgoings today and those 2 incomings. Left everything to the last minute as per, but a bit like me with my school homework back in the day. But no, in all seriousness, I just don't see I don't see any more signings coming in. I think we'd have heard about it by now. Don't you think, Andre?
Yeah, I think this is the same thing. I think, what was it? Fabrizio, I think on Twitch said that that's it for Tottenham in terms of incomings and outgoings. So at this point, I don't see them doing anything else. I think the last thing they might have tried is inquired about Dembele, but as soon as they really thought about it, nope. And I know a lot of fans would have also been very skeptical about that one.
Yeah, definitely. Mars says you start Lucas at first, but then I think he fizzles out. Yeah, potentially. The great thing about having squad depth in certain positions now is I feel like it adds competition to places, and therefore Lucas is going to have to perform to how he's been performing. Maybe last couple of games hasn't been quite what he was. So yeah, I just think I think for sure that he's going to add a lot of competition for places, and let's see. Maybe Lucas starts playing to the heights he was playing at the start of the season. I think it's going to be exciting to see for sure. Picky Panda says still enough time to take Rabiot and Arthur from us. Yeah, Yeah, those signings were a bit of a rumor mill going on, but didn't hear much about Rabiot and Arthur. But yeah, I know you guys at Juventus aren't massive fans of those two players. Two more centre mids as well. You got a lot of centre mids, and by the way, Picky Panda, you got a lot of forwards now. You got obviously Moise Kean, you've got Dybala, you've got Chiesa on the wing, you've got obviously Vlahovic coming in. Who else have you got up at Juventus? You had a lot of strikers and wingers, so I don't know how you're going to fit them all in. So yeah, I'm not surprised you've offloaded two of your fringe players to us, because that squad was getting quite big for sure, 110%. But guys, a question for you guys in the chat: what do you rate the window out of 10? Give us your thoughts. Put it down below. Is it a 6 out of 10? A bit like a George rating? Is it a bit higher? You think it was actually a fantastic windows, clever business, or do you think it's actually lower than a 6? Let us know in the comments. It'd be interesting to see your thoughts. But I know there's a lot of mixed opinions. I know that some people think it was a 6, some people think 10. It's just interesting to know what you guys think for sure. Picky Panda says, yeah, a lot of attackers, Pity, Morata, and Moise Kean have a combined 3 goals. Yeah, that's the other one. Obviously, Morata will link with him for a little bit, but I think that one had fizzled out quite quickly.
Yeah, that
Andre,
fizzled out. So yeah.
Yeah, no, go on, go ahead.
No, I think they were inquiring about that as well, but Fabrizio confirmed a few hours ago that he's not going anywhere, especially because some of the players they brought in, some of the players that went out, that was it for them in terms of letting them go. So,
Leo, shout out to you, by the way. You've been in pretty much every single minute this stream, so big yourself up. A long 2-hour stream. He says 6 out of 10, good for releasing Deadwood, but needed more creativity. I think that's a really fair perfection. A lot of people are saying a 6. I think you're spot on, to be honest. Yeah, I think 6. And I think maybe we'll be saying, like George said, an 8 or a 9 if we get Champions League. Or maybe if we don't get a Champions League, we might be saying that was a 3 window. We should have signed 1 or 2 more players. So I think it's an interesting one. Time will certainly tell. Sean Butler's in here. Big up, mate. Big yourself up, Sean. Always makes an appearance here. Big yourself up, mate.
I will say I kind of remember when you told me to rate the window, and I said a 7, but I wanted to change it. What I wanted to really part of me wanted to say 6.5, just because I think the fact that we also loaned out Hill is what really is off-putting. The fact that we got rid of 4 and only brought in 2, I think we'll see. I think there was also a comment about will the younger players play a role now? I would assume so, especially with Harvey White, sorry, his loan move being blocked after Tottenham sort of coming to the conclusion that nothing else was going to happen. I would assume that they would be players that are going to be showing up on the bench more, just in case if something happens. So
yeah, I think some of those youngsters are going to break in through to the bench for sure. I think that's what we're going to see. Happen now, rather than Dele Alli, Lo Celso, and Ndombele sort of rot that bench with not a lot of passion and certainly no desire, or certainly some attitude problems as well. I think we might see the likes of Dane Scarlett getting on that bench more. Harvey White, for example, should be Dylan Markanday, but obviously we got to forget about that one. But I just know we're going to live to regret that one. It just seems like such a silly move, such a silly move. Great for the player, but terrible for Spurs. From an objective point of view, it's a 7 out of 10, 7.5 out of 10. Really like the 2 new signings Spurs have made, and I think getting rid of players that were just burdens helps a lot too. Again, we will have to wait for the summer, obviously. I think that's a really good point, Picky Panda, and big yourself up as well, mate. You've been here for literally most of the stream as well, so really appreciate the support, guys. I've said it once before this stream. Make sure you hit that thumbs up button, guys. We're still going to be live for a good number 20 minutes or so. We've still got Dave from the Irish Hotspur coming on here and giving his opinion on the transfer window. So make sure you hit that thumbs up button and subscribe if you're new and want to see more content. And obviously follow us on all socials. Andre, I'm going to fling a question your way, mate. I'm going to put you under the panel now.
Yeah.
Obviously, you said sort of a 6 or 7 out of 10, didn't you, in terms of the window? As a lot of people are feeling. Do you think we will live to regret not signing a centre back and a right wing back?
We might. we might, just because of how leaky our defense is. Even even with sort of every single player kind of playing on improving under Conte, the defense has still been very leaky. So I'm worried about that, especially if a defender gets injured again. Right, we had to play Tanganga, who I rated him, but these past few games I've lived to regret that. I hope he gains his form back and his confidence back. But see, when you have, say, Dyer gets injured or Sanchez gets injured, that's who we have to bring on, Tanganga or Rodon, and Conte doesn't have any choice, right? The issue was Romero was injured, and then at the same time Dyer got injured, so we had to play Tanganga, even though he was having some not so good performances. And then you have to question how is Rodon doing in training that Conte doesn't even want to play him, right?
Yes.
Because he's back, right? He's not injured.
Yeah, it's a weird one. I just don't understand Rodon. Like, I just feel like Conte doesn't like him, but I don't understand why. It doesn't seem like the guy has an attitude problem. Seems like the guy is obviously promising when he came on under Mourinho. I remember his Premier League debut against Chelsea, and he played really, really well. For me, it's a strange one. Like, Conte always seems to like the sort of the players that aren't in the limelight and sort of tries to develop them into sort of an incredible world talent. Just don't understand why he's not giving him a chance. Maybe there's more to it that we don't know about, of course. But yeah, it's a very valid point about Rodon. I just don't understand it. And like you're saying, like I feel like we're going to be a bit lighter centre back. Should he not like Tanganga and Rodon going forward?
Yeah, that's going to be an issue for sure. And I'm really worried. I'm really worried because that was real. The Chelsea games, really, the defense was the issue, not closing them down. Because going forward, I mean, we've improved that even more now, right? But yeah, so the defense for me has always been an issue, and I guess we'll have to see what Conte does with what we brought in.
Yeah, let's see. It's just a waiting game now, I guess. Stephen said the big one is if Hugo gets injured. Galini is not good enough. Yeah, and this is the thing we were discussing earlier, Stephen. Galini seems to be one that's he's just been a bit of a disappointment, to be honest with you. He seems like he's not as confident in the Premier League as he was in Serie A, which is an interesting one because it's not exactly a huge transition going from a goalkeeper in Serie A to the Premier League. But the guy keeps coming out for corners and punching it. I say keep, he's done it one or two times, but it's a concern. Like basic goalkeeping ability and decision making is interesting. I guess we can't really judge him too much because he hasn't played too many games, but obviously if he did get a run in games and Lloris did get injured, I would certainly be concerned on that one, Stephen. I think you got a very valid mate. Dyer the most under Conte, and in my opinion, has potential to be world class. Wow, Dyer world class. Imagine us saying that last year. Dyer world class. Amazing, well, I mean, isn't it? What Conte can do.
Didn't Dyer in an interview say he would want his ashes in the stadium? So I mean, yeah, if you want that, become world class, and then for sure. I
think we all mocked him for saying that as well, which is a bit harsh, but obviously, fans are starting to warm to Dyer, especially at centre back. And I feel like prime Dyer was CDM under Pochettino with Moussa Dembele, but at the same time, like as soon as he sort of got pushed out for a Wanyama in CDM, he sort of obviously started to move as a centre back under Mourinho, and yeah, he didn't really work out. Everyone wasn't liking him under Mourinho as a centre back, but suddenly under Conte, this guy's like turned into a decent player again. Obviously prone to a mistake, but like people are starting to get back on the hype about Dyer again.
Yeah, I will say that under like when he's beside the right players, he does have that attitude and that that commanding attitude to get the other defenders in line. So if you had a Romero beside him and maybe you get that other defender beside on the other side, you get a quality sort of that mindset that's not leaky in the way that maybe Tanganga would be or Rodon, even though I can't say too much about Rodon because he was only given a few chances and they were against hard opponents. Maybe he has the capacity to be world class, right? I do find a lot of times Dyer's been on the bad end of trying to cover for another defender's mistake.
Yeah.
And it's also the same issue with Lloris. Sorry, not an issue with Lloris, but it's the same issue when Lloris is playing. He covers for a lot of the defensive problems because Lloris is so good. He's able to sort of stop these, these what should have been a goal. He stops them. But in reality, once you put in a goalkeeper who he's decent, but he's not super, super good, those defensive errors, you pay for them.
Yeah, you're spot on. You're spot on. Couldn't agree more, to be honest with you, Andre. I don't even know how to react.
Yeah, and that's why Lloris is always yelling.
Yeah, and he's a leader, isn't he? He's a captain. He's commanding. Absolutely spot on. So 15 minutes till the end. Not even that now. Doesn't look like anything else is going to happen. Fabrizio Romano's talking about other deals. But yeah, no deals for Tottenham. I'm seeing Liverpool have signed a player, like we said, Fabio Carvalho.
Yeah. How about this, guys? Let's put our ratings out of 10 in the chat. Let's see what everyone else thinks.
Yeah. I think out of 10 would be an interesting one. I did ask that question a little bit earlier. Piggy Panda gave it a 7.5. Leo gave it a 6 out of 10. A couple more comments further up, but yeah, I'm just reiterating my point. I think 6 out of 10, maybe 6.5, but I feel like it would have been a 7, 8, or 9 if we signed 1 or 2 more players. That's just how I'm feeling.
Yeah. I would have given it a 7 if Hill hadn't left, but
Look at this, 6 from Area Kram. 10 out of 10 from Adrian, who's Kulusevski's biggest fan. Saying 10 out of 10 just because of Dejan. Wow.
I assume you'll be getting a shirt soon.
Yeah, Adrian, let us know when you got that shirt. Send us a picture on our DMs. Definitely, I can't wait to see that because I 110% think you're going to be getting one of them for sure.
Have they revealed the number? Is it going to be the same number?
Do you know what? I haven't actually seen, but it'd be interesting to see what number he is for sure. I know Eriksen's going to be number 23 at Brentford, just to pull on our heartstrings a little bit further if we needed that today. But yeah, that's certainly an interesting one. Irish Hotspur should be joining us very, very shortly. We're waiting for the guy himself. Maybe if I start talking about it, it'll sort of just drop in. But until then, Andre, I'm going to swing you one more question. In fact, look at that. I just talk about the guy, and suddenly he's here. He suddenly can hear that I'm talking about him. Here he is. No more introduction needed. It's the man himself, the Irish Hotspur, number 1 Ireland fan. Ireland's answer to Harry Kane. Dave, thanks for joining us. How you doing, mate?
No, grand, man. Honestly, my fucking computer, man. Every time I do these long days, like on match days and stuff like that, it's always freezing. So that's why I'm here, man. But I'm here. Yeah, look, I think we've had a good window. Decent window.
Dave, I've never seen you so optimistic about Spurs today. I don't know if it's like I said in the chat on Paxton Road earlier. I think you've been having those strawberry smoothies again or something. It's unbelievable.
Yeah, I think I might have had one too many, lads. Strawberry surprise, if anyone wants to know the name of it. Beautiful. But, it's one of your 5 a day. But do you know what? You haven't watched me on pre-match pump-ups, lad. I'm super positive.
Mate, I've watched you on there. You love a match day. I know you love a match day. But in terms of the transfer window, I think this is the most positive you've been. I think you'll agree with me.
Yeah, in terms of the transfer window, 100%. Look, and let me explain why. Look, we were all super frustrated coming into this last few days with the lack of movement at Tottenham Hotspur. And I've been saying it all along. I was on here. I said it the other day. Nothing will happen until we can get an end on Belly, a Dele Alli, and a Lo Celso off the wage book. And once we got them deals in place, then we announced Kulusevski and Bentancur. And the reason why I reckon it's been a good window is because people are saying, look, we've got a smaller squad than what we had going into these last couple of days. Yes, correct, if you want to look at the numbers. But look at the players we got rid of, minus Gill. They're players that never actually contributed this season anyway. So we haven't lost out by getting them out of the team. But we've brought in 2 players to compete with what we've already had. So therefore, I think we have strengthened if you look at it like that. I think as well, you'd probably see a stronger squad mentality going forward because you look at it, I would much rather have a smaller amount of numbers in the squad, but with everybody pulling away and going in the same direction. I think you're stronger as a team rather than having players who don't want to be here, players that aren't contributing to anything. And you're weaker as you have more numbers, but in fact you're weaker as a team because not everybody's together. So I believe we strengthen in that way. As well, you look at what we can do going forward. We've saved about 500k a week in wages.
Yeah.
We got rid of 3 players that nobody thought we'd ever be able to get out of here. Not at least until the summer, and that we'd have to take a very cut price fee on some of them. So with that 500k a week in wages, we now can go into, and we've all seen that long list of players who are coming up out of contract. We can now hit that and actually offer them appropriate money, the sort of money they'll be looking for, because they're all going to be looking for big money because there's no transfer fees. So we've now put ourselves in a position where we can actually act on that. You've got 500k a week free. You probably get 2 of them players off that. And you're getting 2 quality players out of that list in the door. You look at, in terms of the summer, what hindered us this January transfer window is purely the club's policy of selling before we buy.
Yeah.
Well, what excuse do they have this summer? We now go into the summer where we're in a position where we can actually bring in first before we offload anybody, which puts us in a position which means we can act very early in the summer. We can get our deals in place nice and early without having to worry about getting wages off. So that problem is now gone. So in terms of going forward, I think it's very positive in terms of the way we can act now. Like I explained in the free contract market and the January and the summer transfer market. But as well, we got rid of 3 players that I wanted gone all along. And I said I was happy to have someone like a Harvey White come in and be the backup and see the limited minutes that these guys were seeing anyway, because he would relish them more than any of them guys have done over the last while.
Yeah.
That's another plus. You got rid of players that we were having to play in like cup games. Like, let's be honest, like they barely played in the Premier League. They were being rolled out in Europa Conference League games, like the inconvenient sort of games. And I always said, if these guys are not taking the minutes and they're obstructing the job done nice and early, I always said that I would much rather just get rid of them and give some of the youngsters a chance. And I'm happy with where the club has positioned themselves right now. With Harvey White, look, he's a player that has actually trained with the first team over the last few weeks. And Conte blocked his loan move today.
Yeah, he obviously rates him.
To me, that Conte would rather have him there, and he sees him as providing adequate backup rather than 3 rotten apples who are offering absolutely nothing. So I actually like with the players we've got gone and everything I wanted to see out of this club going forward, I'm happy. But as well, don't get me wrong. I mean, yes, we could have got more players in, and I get that's a great with a lot of people. But do we want to bring in players just for the sake of bringing in players? Because we're putting ourselves back to square one again, like we were under Jose, like we were under Conte coming in, where you have a lot of bodies that you can't shift, that are not quality enough to be here, that you've brought in just purely because you've panicked and brought in players in positions for cover, even though they may not necessarily be good enough for what you need going forward. So you're just putting yourself back to square one again. We haven't done that. The quality hasn't been there in the position we wanted, so we're going to hold out up until the summer. I'm okay with that. I don't want another Matt Doherty situation. I don't want another Ndombele situation. I don't want another Lo Celso situation. I don't want it anymore. I'm fed up with it.
Yeah, good point.
For me, it's quality over quantity. And I know some fans aren't going to be happy with that. But it's clear to see our number 1 right wing-back target this window who actually plays in that position was Jed Spence. We couldn't get him because of the 2 club things. So, therefore, if we couldn't get our number 1 target, okay. I'm okay with that. Go and get it in the summer. But do not bring in someone just for the sake of bringing them in. I've had enough of that. And that's why we've been in this situation. And I don't want to go back to it.
Yeah. Yeah, you're making more sense on the wage situation, because from my point of view, it was like, well, we got 500k back on the wages. Why aren't we spending, now with those wages? But the summer makes sense. The one concern for me, Dave, and I don't know what your thoughts are on this, is if we don't get Champions League football, it's going to be hard to attract some of those players. Maybe like a Sven Botman will decide to go to a club that gets Champions League, for example. And another thing is obviously Lo Celso and Ndombele are only loans, so we haven't actually got them fully. Obviously, we got them off the wage bill now, but in the summer, I don't think Ndombele's buy to loan to buy is going to be triggered at 65 million. So that's still a problem. I think Lo Celso probably will end up back in the Spanish league in some way or format. So I don't think we have to worry too much about him. But yeah, obviously there's still those 2 points to consider, right?
No, 100%. Look, I actually think the Lo Celso one will be okay. I think La Liga will suit him. It's a bit more slower. And I think he'll look good back over there. And even if they don't take up the option, what we have done is given put them out there to perform. And if they don't take it up, someone else will. So you've put him in the shop window already for the summer, where he wouldn't be where he was if he was just languishing around at Tottenham. You look at Ndombele. I get what you're saying. It's a big fee, but we still haven't paid everything we owed them for Ndombele. There's still a large chunk outstanding. So realistically, all you're doing is cancelling that large chunk that we owe them. And then they also raised 40 million this window for Bruno Gomes. So, I think you're probably talking about 20, 30 million realistically. I think they can afford that. I do think it hinges on whether they get top four, whether they get Champions League football next year. If they do, I think they take them.
Yeah, incredible to think that we might not actually lose hardly any money on Ndombele after all of this time.
Paratici's cooking, like I've been saying all window.
Yeah, when I saw that number, I couldn't believe it. I was like, 65 million. How? That's crazy. And then did you see the master class that was done with the Dele Alli deal? The free transfer with all the clauses so we wouldn't have to pay MK Dons anything.
Look, I'm absolutely delighted with that. It got to the point where any case necessary, you had to get him out. No club was going to come in here and pay a big fee straight off the bat and get him out. But we were always going to have to incentivize the buying club, if you get what I mean. And doing it on performance-based performances, I think is the right way to do it. Look, the situation between Dele Alli and Tottenham was untenable. He was sitting there on TikTok, putting up TikToks while we were 2-0 down to Chelsea against the team that he scored 2 goals previously against before to win us a game. And he's sitting there at home playing TikToks. It shows how far he has fallen. My gripe with the Tick Club is if I could see it, why couldn't someone at the club see it sooner and make that decision sooner? He was declining. It was clear to see he had lost interest. He had done everything by 24, 25, World Cup, European Championships, Champions League final, FA Cup semi-finals, League Cup finals, 2 league run-ins, earning big money. He had done it all before a young age. He had lost his hunger. And we let this situation fester on too long, purely because of what he had done in the past. We have to learn from that now moving forward, that we cannot hang on to that. Because we could have got a bigger fee back before if we would have realised that, pinpointed it and sold them and got them out the door beforehand. So in the long run, we probably have actually lost out on money that we could have got for him. But I'm just glad that he's gone. We can't afford passengers anymore. We cannot, and I get it. Look, thank you very much for the memories. I mean, that goal against Crystal Palace, will forever be ingrained in my mind. I think about it nearly every 2 days. Someone gives me a hard on, but at the end of the day, I cannot accept what he's been doing at Tottenham. He's gone from a world class protege, a guy that reached 50 goals before at the age of 21 before Frank Lampard and Gerrard. He's on course to have an amazing career. And it just all got too much from him. And look, I hope it works out at Everton for him. But he's gone from a very promising world-class player to a walking crayon and a moving Christmas tree, and we can't just have that anymore.
Moving Christmas tree and a working crayon, brilliant. But in all seriousness, no, the sentimental factors of it in it for me. I think I put in a comment when you were on the other stream, Dave. It was it kind of hit me that Dele Alli's finally moving on. Yeah, it's the right time. It's probably way overdue, but it's the fact that yes, thanks for the memories. I agree, but it's obviously it's a little bit of I don't know. It's a bit when we see that tweet when he's gone. Obviously, there's some fans going to be going, "Thank good riddance." But for me, sort of witnessing those moments, the Champions League final, like you said, the Palace moment, the moments against Chelsea where he scored the brace, just those Dele Alli memories I still have in my head. It's brilliant. That's what you want as a fan. That's part of football. But it's 110% time to move on. It should have been time to move on 2 or 3 windows ago, like you said. Joe's just said Everton may have to submit an extension to get it over the line. So we haven't fully lost him just yet. Can you imagine, Dave? Can you imagine? But don't you think it's classic Levy, that for the profit and loss sheets and the financial accountant, the chartered accountant that he is, that we're not actually going to end up paying 20% of the fee to MK Dons because he's found a loophole.
Yeah, but because it works in our favour, it's a good deal.
It is. You're right, but it's all about the profit and loss sheets again, as we've seen from Levy time and time again. Andy's in here, says if they take back and Ndombele for that money, I'll be laughing. Doubt the option will be activated though. Yeah, but like Dave said, maybe they'll come back and say, would you take 30 million? And we'll say, yeah, we were expecting just to get, a packet of chips from the local chip shop and Mars bar for Ndombele. That's probably what he's worth, jogging around the pitch. It's unbelievable, honestly. I was just going to say, moving on, Dave, obviously, well, there it is, 11 o'clock, bang. Fabrizio Romano said that Aubameyang and could go over the line to Barcelona. So that would mean Arsenal have sold 7 players and got none in. You look at Chelsea, I don't think they've signed anyone. Man United haven't signed anyone. Obviously, Villa and Everton have had great windows. But in terms of the top clubs, obviously, Liverpool signed Luis Diaz and they've just signed another player called Carvalho. So they've had an all right window. Probably the 6, apart from Liverpool, have had one of the more active windows. So do you see that as a positive in the top 4 race?
Yeah, well, look, 100%. I mean, look, people look at some of the signings we brought in, or the 2 signings we brought in, Kulusevski, Bentancur. Would they get into any top 4 team? Well, I mean, yeah, they'd get into one of them, and that's ours. You look at the other 3, Liverpool, City, Chelsea. We're not competing with them. Of course, he's not going to get into their team. But that's not who we're competing with. You're competing with United, Arsenal, West Ham, maybe Aston Villa with what they've done this window. And in terms of the other clubs around us, you can't argue that we put ourselves in a better position to get top 4 than any of them have. And it's facts. We've signed players. We've brought in 2 quality players that will help this squad going forward. And for me, we've got the games in hands. It's in our favour. We have no Europe. All we have to do is concentrate on the league. We can put out this more or less the same 11 every single week, barring an injury or a player needing rest here or there. And you look at the top 4 teams around us. Yeah, they can do that, but they don't have any fresh faces. And like you look at United, it's gone horribly wrong from what they've done in the summer. And teams that acted this window, if you look at the market, yeah, I know Liverpool brought in 2 players, but they can sit there, take the time and handpick their players that they want to come in, the quality players. And I feel like that's what we've done this window. But like we've also acted just like Everton, just like Aston Villa and stuff, because what we done in the summer wasn't enough and things have gone wrong since. And you look at the majority of the clubs that acted this window, it's clubs that have needed to act. So the fact that Arsenal have let 7 go and not brought anyone in, I mean, I can't believe what they've done. That's absolutely brilliant. I mean, we're having Levy out protest. They should be out there writing, to be honest. Yeah. I mean, that's fantastic. You look at West Ham, I don't think they brought anybody in. You look United, they let go of Donny van de Beek, who I think they're missing a trick there. Yeah, they have Wreck-It Ralph. I don't think he'll be enough to get in the top 4. So you look at the window we've put ourselves in the best position. It's that simple. Yeah,
I couldn't agree more, to be honest with you, when you compare it to the other teams, for sure, Dave. But maybe that's also the teams around us not doing enough. Potentially they should be rioting as well. Joe says Arsenal signed a 23-year-old defender from Colorado, but he won't join until July 17th. Who owns Colorado? Kroenke. The only way they can sign anyone is by moving money around their teams. Bloody hell. That is shambles. Like you said, there probably should be some Kroenke out celebrations. Well, we can celebrate it, but Kroenke out protests going on. I'm sure there will be. Probably
they're going into the rest of the season with Nketiah and Lacazette. Oh my God, that is class. That's quality.
And by the way, if you remember rightly, Dave, I'm sure you do, Andre and myself certainly do, Joe predicted Arsenal to finish above Tottenham. I'm really hoping he's not going to clip this in case it does backfire. But the fact that Joe thinks Arsenal to finish above Tottenham after this window is interesting.
No, they're not. They're not finishing above Tottenham.
To be fair, I'm pretty sure that Arsenal did make another signing. They signed that USA goalkeeper from New England Revolution. Yeah, Terry, I think is his name or something like that.
Wow, he's going to get in there under 23.
Turner, I think. Matt Turner, yeah. I don't know. He just lost against Canada, so Yeah.
Big Bez says, "Did Delhi? Is Delhi staying as they missed the deadline? Apparently, there's going to be an extension put in for it. Everton need to, so it'll probably be like 1 a.m. in the morning when you're just dozing off to sleep, and you'll see a Deli Ali has left Tottenham to eat, and maybe you start crying before you go to bed, or maybe if you're Dave, you might maybe have another strawberry milkshake, maybe put some alcohol in that, and just celebrate for the night because you're happy Deli Ali's finally moving on and not doing his TikTok stuff as normal."
Do you know what it is, lad? I'm just happy that the club have taken my vision on board and that we're moving in my vision. What I wanted is get rid of them players, bring up someone like Harvey White, give them a chance and buy quality over quantity. So I'm glad the club's moving in my vision. I'm happy.
Yeah, happy days. Like you said, finally 3 Deadwood out of the club. Obviously 2 on loan, but you'd think that they'd hopefully move to permanence, if not at that club, at another club. But I
don't
mean,
think I've ever seen you this positive, Dave. Oh my gosh.
this is what I'm saying, mate.
This is new.
No, let's not do him down. To be fair, he is very pumped up on a match day, like on the We Are Tottenham TVs. Dave, don't worry, I watch that.
I just mean when we talk about transfers.
But transfers, Dave, I mean, I've got a montage, a 6-minute montage. We can put it on stream if you like, of you going nuts 2 days ago, but it's very much changed. And do you know what? I understand it. You know, today's been a big day. It has changed everyone's opinion. Well, not everyone's opinion, a lot of people's opinion. So I completely
But I'm positive because they've done what I wanted them to do, though. You know, I said about getting rid of the Deadwood. I didn't care about if we couldn't replace all of them. You know, so the club has done what I've wanted them to do. So I'm happy with that. Like, don't get me wrong, there's still things that piss me off that we could have acted early in the window and had a better window if our business model was different. But I'm happy after all. I got what I wanted. So.
Yeah. Sorry, sorry to interrupt, guys. Joe's just said that the Deli Ali deal sheet has been confirmed by the Premier League. They can relax now. Deli Ali, mate, all the best. Aubameyang's done as well. Apparently, he's been announced at Barcelona. Wow. Aubameyang fraud, as I like to call him. Here he is. You know, I think this is a Photoshop, but there he is in a Barca shirt. Looks a bit weird. So he can start being a fraud at Barcelona. I'm sure he'll really entertain the 90,000 crowd at the Nou Camp now. It'd be awesome rather than the 60,000 at the Emirates. You know, I'm sure they'll be right on his back every game. You know, he's going to be playing with some world-class talent there. You just forget like Martin Braithwaite, ex-Middlesbrough player, quality. Adama Traore, ex-Middlesbrough player, quality. Who else have they got? I mean, they haven't even got Coutinho anymore. So we're looking at sort of Frankie de Jong, decent player, but desktop right wing back. He's going to be playing some world-class players, isn't he, Dave?
Oh, absolutely quality. Look, I'm absolutely delighted. You know, because it weakens Arsenal. I mean, they were stupid. Like, they were stupid to isolate them the way they did, especially with some of the striking options they have. And I'm absolutely delighted. To be honest with you, I actually think he probably will do well at Barcelona. And in a way, I actually hope he does because it'll rub it in them mugs' face. You know what I mean? And I'll be absolutely delighted. To be honest, actually, I would actually rather he scores over there so that I can actually just clip it and just like annoy them all the time, send it to them. You know, pull the hand strikes again. You know what I mean? Really, really stick it to them. I'd love it, to be honest.
Imagine just sending. I think, Dave, imagine just sending them every time they score. I mean, and the fact he's, like Leo just said, for a near bankrupt for a near bankrupt team, what a window for Barca. Adama Traore, Aubameyang, who else have I missed? I mean, they've probably done more moves than Arsenal, that's for sure. But honestly, Joe's probably got his clip art out already. He's probably already clipped us ready for the montage if Arsenal do finish above Tottenham. And you can find me probably 10 weeks later if that does happen, because I know that Joe's going to be right off on that one if Arsenal do finish above Spurs. But Dave, I think you could almost put your house on the fact that Arsenal aren't going to finish above Spurs.
No, nowhere near it, lad. First of all, we've got Big H. You know, second of all, we've got midfielders who do not get sent off every game or take it in turns to get sent off one week, the next week. You know, plus we've actually got a proper manager in charge who's won things, not Pep's cone bitch. So you know what I mean? I'm absolutely delighted with that. Yeah, I just don't see how they're going to get top 4. I really don't. A couple of injuries there and they're screwed. You know, honestly, a couple of injuries there and be calling them a nursery because their squad would be so young. Honestly, it'd have to come with a warning. You know, half the fans probably won't even be able to watch them because it'd be that young. Honestly.
Pep Scone bitch got me.
That's what he is.
Yeah.
Yeah, you say it like it is, yeah.
They say like when Pep leaves, maybe Mikel Arteta to Man City. All I can say is good luck Man City if that happens, because he's nowhere near like a Pep Guardiola. I mean, the fact they're even comparing him like to be the next Pep Guardiola is embarrassing in my opinion. I mean, yes, Mikel Arteta's come in and he's won. What has he won? A Community Shield and an FA Cup. But let's be honest, like in terms of the league, they haven't finished above us for what, 3 seasons now. I mean, realistically, Arsenal are still a pretty poor team, and it's not to say we're miles better than them. Like, we're not miles better than them, but I do see us finishing. I'm just giving Joe more fuel. I might just shut up. But anyway, just in case it does happen, Miles says Big H, King Kulu, and Sonaldo will lead us to top 4, lads.
I like Miles.
Miles, top lad. He's been in here for quite a lot of the night, actually. JK says first Man City, second Chelsea, third Liverpool, fourth Tottenham. I don't see Chelsea finishing above Liverpool. I feel like Liverpool will be the closest to City. I'd say the same order, but one Man City, two second Liverpool, third Chelsea, fourth Tottenham, and Man United in fifth, and maybe Arsenal in sort of maybe 12th or something like that, depending if Villa and Everton make a late stride towards the top half. I can see Arsenal finishing about 12th. No, in all seriousness though, Aston Villa are gonna kick on now. I think they've already proved it under Gerrard, and the fact they got Coutinho, Luca Digne in, and Callum Chambers, all pretty good signings. Well, amazing signings in Coutinho and Digne, but unbelievable stuff.
I think that Adrian, I think he sent you the. I think he already took he bought the shirt already of Kulusevski. I'm not sure.
Oh, okay. So he actually DM'd Kulusevski on Instagram in Swedish saying come to Tottenham in the 26th of September, and he called it. So I've just seen that interesting stuff. The guys, maybe we're not thanking Baratici. Maybe we're thanking Adrian Holmquist in the chat. He's our little Swedish Baratici. Big yourself up, mate. Sean says breaking news for Fabrizio Romano, top 4 Tottenham signed, and here we go. Love that from you, Sean. Love the positivity, mate. I can see Fabrizio tweeting that already. Andy's back in it. He says, I think Arsenal are our biggest rivals for fourth. I think they are more of a threat than Man United. Wow. What are your thoughts on that, Dave?
I like Andy. He's a good guy, but I politely disagree with him. Look, honestly, they've got lack of threat up front. Kieran Tiny at left back. They've got the human party in midfield. He's having that much of a party. He gets sent off all the time, so he can do his hangovers. You've got Granit Xhaka in midfield. I mean, honestly, I'll call him the bull because he loves seeing red. And you've got Saka shit. You've got Emil Smith can't roll, but I really don't see it happening. I really don't. I think a couple of injuries there, 1 or 2 injuries, they're in deep, deep trouble. Honestly, I can't believe what their owners have let happen this January for them. As much as I hate them, I can't believe what their owners have done.
Wow. Mill Smith, row your boat. That's not something I'd thought I'd hear at 11:15 on a Monday, mate. Liverpool's deal for Carvalho has fallen through. Might cry. Did the medical before 11, but not contracts. Part of the deal was to loan him back. Didn't do it in time. Safe. And JK confirms that for Fabio Carvalho to Liverpool collapsed. Oh. Wow, right. So Liverpool maybe haven't strengthened as much as we think. Luis Diaz, obviously a huge strengthen, but they haven't got their man in Carvalho that they wanted late. So, big trouble for them. Maybe that even gives us not an advantage, but obviously says that we've maybe done the best business in the top 6.
Yeah, possibly. Nothing like a little bit of drama right at the end, right?
Yeah, we've got to have a little bit of drama. Two more questions I've got for you, David. I've been wanting to ask you this one. I should have asked you earlier. What are your thoughts on Eriksen going to Brentford, and would you have taken him back?
Look, first of all, Christian, I hope he does well there. I hope he succeeds.
Yeah.
I'm delighted to see him back playing football again, especially that he's getting back to the Premier League, especially after what happened for him. But maybe he should be looking at it like I was wrong to leave Tottenham Hotspur in the first place. The fact that he finds himself at a club like Brentford now. Look, I was really upset with Christian, to be honest with you. The way he was handling himself so he could get his move. I don't really have any more feelings for the guy. Look, I hope he succeeds, but I'm just one of them guys. If you piss off my club and you piss me off, everything you've done up until then, it's easily forgotten about.
Yeah. Yeah, and also, like you said, he did leave on bad terms. He wanted to leave in that January. Like, if you've watched the Amazon documentary, he quite clearly wanted to go to Inter Milan in January. It ended up being a summer move, and then, yeah, it kind of ended on a bit of a sour note, didn't it? He kind of didn't really want to play for the last 6 months. He kind of was walking around the pitch. He took the piss, really, didn't it? Obviously, like you said, echo your thoughts. Hope he does really well at Brentford. Hope he really comes back and, stays well as well. Obviously, that's the most important thing. But, yeah, I think we can't just keep going back to these old players, which we got rid of for a reason, which was, we got rid of him because he wanted to go and do better things, went to Inter Milan, won a league. I don't think we should be then scraping the barrel and going back for him. Like, let's be honest, like he didn't want to be here at the end.
Yeah, and also, sorry.
Sorry.
I was just gonna say that to add to what Dave said, 100%. I think that he didn't want to play at the end, and him not playing well, almost like reserving himself so he doesn't get injured, and giving those poor performances was kind of just taking it. It's like taking it out on the fans. We didn't do anything to him. That wasn't that was between him and Levy. That wasn't him playing poorly. That's just taking it out on us, and that's why a lot of fans were just really mad because they were just heartbroken that he was doing that.
Yeah.
So,
there's a way to do it. I mean, that's a great point, Andre. I mean, you look at Modric. Yes, he wanted out, but he played well for that whole year until he got his move. And it's people like that I can respect, because someone like that's a natural born winner. They're going on to win things because they have that attitude. Say, okay, I won't get it this year, but what I will do is I'm going to play absolutely brilliant so that you have no option but to make it happen next year. And that's people like I respect. But with Christian Eriksen as well, I mean, we need the players to come in and hit the ground running. Bentancur can do that. Kulusevski can do that. Christian Eriksen can't. You have to bring him in. You have to get him up to speed. And you have to, you know what I mean? You have to take your time with Christian Eriksen. It wouldn't have been a good signing for Tottenham. I would have had no problem here coming, training, getting himself up to speed and whatever else. But unfortunately, where we're at as a club, we just don't have that time to put into the guy.
Yeah. Well, exactly. It's a bit like you wouldn't go back for your ex-girlfriend, would you, Dave?
No, I definitely wouldn't have.
Joe McBride says, best business in the top 6. Would you swap Bentancur and Kulu for Luis Diaz? I'm letting Dave answer that one. It's too hard.
No, I'm happy with the Spurs business. Look, if Diaz doesn't want to be here, you can have him, my man. You can have him. If he doesn't want to be here, I don't want players that want to come to Tottenham. I don't want to have to sit there and constantly persuade players and pay them over the odds on wages just to get them here. Because that's what we've done with Endon Bell. That's what we've done with Lo Celso.
Yeah, frauds.
If he doesn't want to be here, enjoy Liverpool, and I hope it doesn't work for you.
At least you're not so bad, Dave.
It's true, lad. I hope it's
brilliant. I might clip that just for Joe again. That's brilliant. As good of a player Diaz is, he isn't what we needed. I don't want him, as he probably would have been pushed Son out to the right. Would prefer a right winger over Diaz, but quality player. Jelly and Ice Cream's in here. Big yourself up, mate. You popped in and out. Top lad. Says, big up, lads. Who do you think Sean Dyche will want in this summer? How random can you get? Haven't got a clue. I mean, unbelievable business from Burnley, though, in all seriousness. They signed Wedgehorst today.
weren't we linked to him a few years ago?
Yeah, we were. We were linked with him in last summer. So the fact that Burnley have got him, I think they got rid of Wood for 25 mil and got him in for 15 mil. What business that is! I mean, Burnley do some unbelievable business. They got that Cornet in, who's a brilliant player. Finn's in here. Big yourself up, Finn. Obviously, Spurs-related lad. Factos. And he said, I think we need to go out and get Delight and Nkunku and Dybala in the summer. Bloody hell, if we got them, I think that'd be a perfect window. But Dybala, yeah, it'd be interesting to see what happens with him. He's not happy at Juventus. 60 million for Nkunku and Delight is a steal. Let's hope something happens. And Nkunku, do you rate Nkunku, Dave?
Probably haven't seen enough of him to rate him, but I mean, if he hasn't, look, I know about him, but if he's not hot on my radar, I wouldn't say he's a good player. No, I think, players that are hot on my radar are usually never too far wrong.
Yeah. Dave, you proved yourself right today, mate. Fair enough. Some very good points again. Jelly and Ice Cream, mate. So I thought it was a bit random asking us for Burnley. He meant when he takes over from Conte. Can you imagine we get Sean Dyche for Conte? Oh my goodness, can you imagine? But that's actually quite funny. But Conte,
Yeah.
jokes aside, he should be staying. I mean, he's obviously got two of the guys he wanted, Serie A guys. They're Conte signings. Hopefully, he can transform into be unbelievable starting players for us. I asked this question to George Achillea, Dave, just before you joined. What are your thoughts on the centre mid situation with Bentancur coming in? Do you think Skip will come out, or do you think Højbjerg will come out, or do you think we'll play a midfield three? How do you think it will work?
I think ideally he wants to get to the formation he was playing at Juve. You know, the 3-5-2. I think that is his ideal preferred choice. Now you look at the midfield options we've had. He hasn't been able to do it. And then when he does, he's putting Skip in there, but or not Skip, he's putting Winks in there. But you just don't know what you're going to get from little old Harry. You know what I mean? Every time he steps on the field. So I think if we are going to move to that three in midfield, I think Bentancur walks straight in. I mean, honestly, it's not really much of a competition. He's got better passing than Harry Winks. He's more aggressive than Harry Winks. He's better at tackling than Harry Winks. And he's more composed on the ball than Harry Winks. I mean, you look at what the guy done against Chelsea. I don't know if you remember, but at one stage, I think Højbjerg went into like 2 tackles and the ball broke. And then Harry Winks just ballooned it straight back up to Chelsea. He panicked. And I'm sitting there, I'm like, now, if I'm one of them defenders, I would hesitate giving him that ball again because he has as much composure as a pedo in a Barney outfit, right? Honestly. So that's not much at all, especially at a kid's birthday party. It's not much at all. So for me, he's so much better. He has a lot more composure, and I think defenders would be able to trust him. And I think maybe you could see him maybe switch to that three in midfield with Bentancur walking straight in there. Because all we needed is a midfielder that can take the ball from the defence and hit players running in behind, or just giving Harry Kane decent ball into him and letting him do the creativity. So for me, I think he walks straight in. If it's with the 3-4-3, I reckon Skip might drop out, and I think you see Bentancur come in alongside Højbjerg. But it's great because then it means we can bring Skip off the bench and not Harry Winks.
Yeah. Would you not mind Harry Winks going in the summer then?
Oh, no, not at all. I mean, there's nothing that he's done in a Tottenham jersey, bar that one performance against Liverpool and Real Madrid over 6-7 years that warrants me keeping him. I mean, he's only saved his ass because I think he must be afraid of Conte, so he's actually performing a little bit. You know, we can't forget, this is a guy that came out after Vitesse and was sitting there crying, saying, I need a run of games. Not, oh, do you know what I mean? It's up to me in training sessions to earn my spot in the team or earn my spot on the bench and then take it when I come off the bench. No, Harry thinks he's just entitled to a run of games. And straight away when I heard that, it already confirmed what I've been saying since I ever started YouTube, that this guy is not good enough and he doesn't have a winning mentality. And therefore, as soon as we get a better option in here and we can get more options in, which I think Harvey White could be... Look, the only reason why Harry Winks is here is because of the homegrown thing. Let's be straight about it. He's a Tottenham boy. He's come through the academy. Harvey White is now going to replace that, which means now we can free up Winks in the summer to sell him.
But hang on, what about Dele Alli going? Obviously, that's an issue as well.
Why?
Because obviously the homegrown thing. If you get rid of Dele and Winks, then you get rid of 2. Yeah. So then technically the homegrown thing becomes an issue again because you've then got Dele going, which is going to happen. Winks going if he goes in the summer. Harvey White replaces one of them. Who replaces the other one?
Troy Parrott.
You can't be joking, Dave.
Why?
Troy Parrott.
You know, he could come in and be an option in the squad. I mean, look, there's other players in the under-23s that can come in and replace him. Just because of the homegrown thing, it shouldn't stop us looking for better. And plus, if we go for Dejan Spence, that's Dele Alli replaced. In and out. Boom, done.
Yeah. Fair.
Makes sense.
Good point.
Well, don't forget, we also have Pape Sarr coming at the end of the season as well. So, actually, right there, the comment right there, Pape Sarr. Should be good, exactly hopefully.
Could Bentancur and Højbjerg work? Bentancur ball winning and Højbjerg playing like we saw at the Euros with the Pings? Højbjerg could allow a bit more flexibility with Højbjerg to push forward, I guess, like we saw for Denmark. But I guess we'll just have to wait and see on that one. Rotation will be 100% key through the next 6 months. Spot on. Yeah, and it'd be a lot of experimenting as well, I think. Pepe Matasar hasn't got any minutes in the AFCON, I don't think. Seen him on the bench a couple of times. Ben Davies has said Harry Winks is a class bloke. We play him poker on Wednesday nights together. Yeah, I wouldn't even be surprised.
I'm sure Ben and Winks does. I'm sure they do.
Dave doesn't care about homegrown quota. Get him out, bring through the new youth. Yeah, spot on. That's what he's saying. Andy's saying Troy Parrott is crap. I don't think Troy Parrott's going to be. I thought he got sold, or did he get loaned out?
He's on loan, lad. Look, Troy Parrott just. Do you know what it is? He was good friends with Delhi. They were bought into the party lifestyle and stuff like that. With Delhi moving off to Everton, and if Troy Parrott can apply himself properly, he can get back on track. Look, this was a guy that was too good, to play for the under-23s. He was just banging him in left, right, and centre, all over England and all over Europe in the youth competitions. Couldn't stop him from scoring. He played that one game for Ireland, and he played himself right, and he scored 2 absolute cracking goals. And I do see the glimpses in him. And I just think if he can get the right players in and around him and not hanging out with the likes of Dele Alli and look, he does have a bar crowd around him. I know that. It's kind of like if he can put that to one side, he can be good enough for Tottenham.
I don't know if I can agree with you, Dave. Like, I think Troy Parrott has done something on loan. I think he's been at Millwall now. Is it Sunderland? He's been at Millwall and someone else, and he hasn't really hit the ground running there. I don't think he's really scored too many goals. I mean, we could probably bring his record up, but I mean, obviously, I understand your point. You did see a player in him, and I go back 3 or 4 years. We were saying he's basically the Dane Scarlett of now. He's sort of coming through the ranks and going to be the next big thing. But I just feel like he's faded a bit in terms of like his loan moves haven't really been too successful. I don't think, have they?
No, the one at Millwall didn't work out. But he did have an injury there. The one this season, I actually think he scored a few goals. I actually do think he has a few goals.
Oh, wow. Andre may be able to bring up the stats on Troy Parrott. Maybe we'll be able to
trying to find it right now and see what's being said here.
But Dave, listen, we're planning on ending the stream fairly soon because it's nearly been 3 hours now. But give me your rating out of 10 on the transfer window and your reasoning why and who you think we should sign in the summer as a priority.
I'm going to say it's a 9 out of 10 window. Just purely because of all the factors I've mentioned. We weren't expecting to do anything. The fact that we brought in quality over quantity, I'm happy about. The fact that we've offloaded the amount of wages and the deadwood we have, I'm happy about. The fact that it puts us in great positions for the out-of-contract market, I'm happy about. The fact that it puts us in a position where we can buy before we sell in the summer, I'm very happy about. And the fact we didn't do knee-jerk reactions just to fill spaces like maybe we have done before without them actually being of any use to us. So all in all, I think, Don Paratici, some of the buyback clauses he has got for some of these players, I think all in all, I think from where we were the last day I was on here to now, I think it's been a very positive window. And for me, bar minus getting in maybe one extra player, they've done everything I've wanted them to do.
Yeah, I can see what you mean. Yeah, I think a lot of the reason why you've rated it so high is the deadwood getting rid of them, and I think we're all quite happy about that, especially in Ndombele and Lo Celso, and obviously Delhi. They needed to all move on. I think for me, Brian Hill is the one where I'm not too sure. I would have put him into an English club or potentially played him off the bench, because if I ask you the question, Dave, is Brian Hill is Kulusevski much better than Brian Hill? I would say probably he's not.
He probably has more experience than Brian Hill, though. Kulusevski's a full international. He's made a few appearances for a team like Juve. Brian Hill, only kind of really came to prominence because he went out on loan to that lower league Spanish team for a couple of months last season. So for me, I think Kulusevski is more ready-made in terms of his attributes as well. 6'1", big guy, strong. He's got pace. I think he has more chance to hit the ground running than what Brian Hill did. I still rate Brian Hill. I still think there's a fantastic footballer there. I really do. And do you know, when it comes to the English clubs, I kind of thought about this. So you look at clubs that would have took him in the Premier League. You're probably talking lower league teams. What one of them would take a gamble on him if they're fighting relegation, thinking that if they don't believe he can hit the ground running, why would they take a gamble on him?
I was thinking more the teams that were pushing for promotion, sort of like maybe a Bournemouth or a West Brom.
Can they afford his wages though?
Yeah, good point. It might have to be a case of like 50-50, like they've done on some deals before.
Well, you look at the trend over the last few years. A lot of English players are going abroad to get the minutes. So we're kind of just following the trend, really, of what has been happening. And for me, it's all about the minutes. Look, I would have preferred an English club just for him to kind of maybe get pushed around a little bit, battered and bruised, and take the hard knocks to kind of toughen him up. But at the end of the day, it's about minutes. If we put him down to a championship club playing for promotion and he can't handle the physicality, he will not see another minute there. You're taking a risk. Whereas you put him out in a La Liga where it's less physical, you have a lot more time on the ball, he will play minutes. And for me, that's what it's about as a 19-year-old. It's about playing the minutes. Yeah, you can put him to an English club, but if he doesn't play, what use was it?
Yeah, fair point. I think it's the physicality factor for me. Like in La Liga, obviously, like you said, it's a much less physical league, so he's not almost gonna bulk up. Like you look at Oliver Skipp when he went to Norwich, Championship Player of the Season, bulked up, amazing player, changed their season. Got them promoted, not single-handedly, but was a main factor of it. And, spraying passes around. We saw highlights reels. Norwich fans were like licking their lips over him, wanted him on the permanent. Didn't happen. Starts for Spurs now. I wanted a similar situation with that. Okay, maybe Ollie Skipp's a little bit more experienced than Brian Hill, but I mean, I just, yeah.
James, the crucial thing there is that Norwich wanted Skipp. No English club actually came in looking for Gill. We would have been looking for a club for Gill. That's a different story altogether.
No, yeah, you're very, very true. Very true. Very true. A couple more comments. Finn agrees with you on the 9 out of 10. He says relative to what we've done before, 9 out of 10. Adrian says 7 out of 10. We should try to sign Delight, De Vrij, Lamptey, Lazari, Dybala in the summer. I think everyone's going to be going for Dybala. I mean, the guy's not happy at Juventus. His loan season at Parma was really good. This is Kulusevski. 10 goals and 8 assists or something. Kulusevski. And spot on about Kulusevski. He's driven. So I'm really hoping these two signings are going to be absolutely unbelievable. Andre, we've already heard that you think a 6 out of 10. I personally think a 6 out of 10, Dave. I'm so happy that some people are feeling positive about it. But I think what we discussed with George earlier, George Achillea, was I think time will tell. And I know I said that on your channel, but it really is a case of time will tell on these, because these two players could really, really push us to top 4, or there'll be absolute, almost regrets, and we should have signed 1 or 2 more players. I think that will be the difference. But I know hindsight's a wonderful thing. We have to wait and see. But guys, 3-hour stream. Don't know about Andre. I'm feeling a little bit weary-eyed now. But Dave, I say that, but Dave's been doing YouTube streams for about 8 hours today, haven't you, Dave? So I can't really feel sorry for myself on that one. But no, I've enjoyed every single minute of it, guys. Really appreciate all the comments. Still coming in at like nearly 12 o'clock. It's been mental. Wow. There's still 30 of you watching. Make sure you hit the like button to show your support for this long stream. And thank also our guests, George Achillea and Irish Hotspur, for popping in. Dave, I really appreciate your time, mate.
No, look, thanks for having me, man. You know me, anytime, any chance I can get, I'll get over here. I would have actually done the whole stream, which is if you would have got on to me earlier rather than just today, my man. But no, look, I really enjoy coming here. You know, every chance I get, I'll be here.
Yeah, legend, mate, honestly. And Dave, John,
if you don't get sick of me, by the way.
No, mate, we honestly, you're genuinely, literally one of my favourite guests to have on. Honestly, it's been a laugh. We've been doing streams together for nearly almost a year now. I can't believe it. I looked at our first stream when you mentioned all those names, and it was like, I think March 2021, so like nearly a year ago. It's crazy. It's crazy how time flies, and how even your channel's growing. Talking about your channel, do you want to just make sure the guys who are still watching, there's 30 of them, if they're not following Dave, where can they find you, mate?
Yeah, just type in the Irish Hotspur on YouTube and smash that subscribe button. The big push for 6K is on. We're almost there. I can almost taste it. So, if you want to help me out, that's brilliant. But like I keep saying, you know, anyone that is new here and hasn't smashed the subscribe button, please do. I'm going to keep saying this. It's one of the most underrated YouTube channels out there with the best social media game I've ever seen. So make sure you smash that subscribe button and let's get the YouTube channel up to the social media game. So make sure you do smash that subscribe button.
No, bless you, mate. Really appreciate that. Honestly, it really does mean a lot. And the fact we're your favourite underrated channel, honestly, it means an awful lot. We absolutely love coming on your channel when I've been coming on your channel recently, and I know Andre and Joe as well massively love coming in, especially yourself and Jack. When Jack can come in as well, it's absolutely brilliant, mate. Thank you so much.
No, thanks for having me, boys.
Right, guys, that is the end of the stream. Before I do, obviously, Andre, thanks very much for your 3 hours as well, mate. Great inputs, and cheers for being almost the newsbreaker at certain points as well.
Oh yeah, well, thank you for having me on. I'm always happy to come on and be of help in all the news.
Spot on, and big up to everyone that watched. Like, for example, Leo, Jelly and Ice Cream, Adrian. You guys were pretty much Miles. You pretty much were in here the whole stream. It was absolutely crazy. 3 hours. You know, I know there was a lot of Spurs channels streaming today. So the fact you chose us means an awful lot, guys. It really does. But like I said, guys, get over to the Irish Hotspur, subscribe to Spurs Related, like the video, and yeah, guys, thanks so much, and we'll see you next time. Come on, you Spurs.
Come on, you Spurs.